Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Tottenham Away. It's Monday night, the best place to be in town if you're a Spurs fan. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Thanks for having you on board. If you are a regular, then welcome back. Good to have you. Harry Kane, he's done it again. 3 points for Spurs. We're going to talk about it and all the other Premier League results. Let's get into it. Let's go.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.
What's happening, people? We're back again. Iggy, JP, and myself. Guys, how you doing, man? 3 points, another win.
JP, do you want to go first?
It was a royal day, eh? Emerson Royal Day. It was nice to see a clean sheet, to be honest. I'm sure we'll speak about it later. Kind of like the way football was with us. But yeah, it was nice to get a win. It was nice to keep a clean sheet after, was it something like 15 goals, letting in 15 goals in the previous, 4 games. So it was nice to see that at least. It's nice to see Emerson back on a royal day. I'm sure we'll get into his performances. But yeah, no, all good.
Yeah, listen, I completely agree, JP, man. Everyone's looking a bit tanned as well. It looks like we've all got a bit of sun over the weekend by the looks of it. But listen, I completely agree with you. I was happy first and foremost we got to win first game in however many games since we last won. A clean sheet after conceding 12 goals in 3 games. We managed to keep the clean sheet, 3 points, and there's only one king. And that is King Kane of the Lane. Completely agree with that. So, big up. 209 goals for Kane. He's 51 away from Alan Shearer's Premier League all-time goal-scoring record, and he will catch him. He will catch him for sure. So, yeah.
So one more season with us, he'll get halfway.
Yeah, he'll get halfway. Hopefully he'll do it with us. But regardless of the matter, if he stays in the Prem, for sure he will catch Shearer. But look, and in less games as well, by add. But listen, it was a great win. 3 points. Everyone went home happy, at least for the time being. It keeps our chances of Europe very much alive. Not Champions League, but Europa League.
Yeah,
if anyone's still interested to know, I'm just saying.
I don't know if I'm happy about that.
I know a lot of people are not interested, but it's just listen. You got to take whatever good comes your way. When you're a Spurs fan, any good thing comes your way. That's that for me. For me, that's how I take it. I don't know how you guys feel about it. Still, how you feeling about it, mate?
I'm not going to lie. We did the watch along, and what a shit game of football. I was bored. I was struggling. There was a couple of moments you're thinking, oh. There was about a 10-minute patch where the passing was good and we were moving it nicely, but that was it. Otherwise, we can't keep the ball effectively.
More chances, though.
We don't excite. I thought Palace had a couple of chances and they fluffed. I think we hit the crossbar, if I remember. I think Romero hit the crossbar on the header.
Son hit the post, didn't he?
Son hit the post. But otherwise...
No, maybe not.
I can't remember.
That was Liverpool.
Yeah, that was Liverpool. You're right. Why am I agreeing with you? But yeah, listen, I'll be honest with you. I switched off about 5-6 games ago. More than that, I stopped going to games. I didn't go on the weekend. I've just switched off because for me, listen, I'm glad Spurs won. I celebrated when we scored. I was like, hey, but I don't know. I'm in that place where I don't care because whether we get Europa or whether we get Conference League or nothing, what do I care? I want to know where Spurs are going because for me it's just rinse and repeat. But listen, we'll get into it. That's how I felt. That's me. That's how I felt about the whole thing. But anyway, listen. Let's big up everyone in the chat. Otherwise, I will depress the crap out of this show. Big up to Eugene. How you doing, my man? Dunkle's Dork. How you doing? Big up yourself. There he is, Aphid Stan. Got Rob Ayres. Big up to Rob Ayres in the house. Minerals FC, who lives in the woods, who lives in the forest. We've got Bring It Big Boy. How you doing? Got Sammy in the house. Big up Stel Enoch out. Big up to his boy Harrison as well. Always big up Harrison. LA007. How you doing, my man or woman? Don't know who you are, but hello. Chris Horry. How you doing? I need to say Chris Horny.
Horry. Horry.
I need to say Chris
Horry.
Horny. Big up to Tony Rodriguez in the
Hey,
house.
top man.
Yeah, big up to Tony. We've got big up to Svarog BG. How you doing? William Leone, channel member. How you doing, my man? We've got David P. We've got Chris Agomba. Ryan
Big up,
Isaacs in the
Chris.
house. Ryan, who I think he walked out after 22 minutes, he said. Tom Thacker. Scott in the house. We've got Johnny from Bethnal Green. Big up to you,
Big
Top
up, big
Spurs. How you doing? Graham in the house. How you doing, Graham? Elian
Purple
Ron,
and
Purple and
gold.
Gold.
I have my purple and gold.
You know it. Soundboy. JP thinks garage girls are fine.
Garage girls are so fine.
Great track.
That's a really good voice, JP.
Garage girls. Garage girls.
That's a really good voice.
I know, man.
I think it's one of my favourite garage tunes.
Big up to Daniela. How you doing? Hope you are well. Rookie Spop. Hey, my man. Hope you're good. C to the fourth in the house. Big up. We've got Gareth Mack Ginty. Big up to you as well. Bruno. How you doing? Francois. Big up yourself. We've got Jordan in the house. Alan Sibley. 10-inch. The history of Tottenham Hotspur, a.k.a. Roy. Rams, our favourite gooner. Peter Simmons. Axel. ENS.
Got some new names, you know.
Yeah, there's a few here. We've got Max as well, Max Fresen. Big up to you all, guys. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, follow the channel, tell your friends, tell all the Spurs crew, and tell anyone who's not Spurs who just wants to listen to us talk. And big up to Paul as well. Big up the panel and piss off Levy, he says.
Big up everyone
Andy.
in the chat.
Big up Andy. So, yeah, look, guys, we had a Premier League game on the weekend. We had to win because we're the home team. And if we want to be in Europe next year, we've got to win these games. Brighton losing tonight has
That's an unbelievable
added a
result, wasn't it?
bit of spice to everything. Big up, what's the
I said
point?
it's dragging us in, isn't it? It's like dragging us back in. There's a
Listen,
possibility.
do you know
Yeah.
what? I'll tell you what,
Yeah,
before we talk about the game, let's look at the league table, actually. Let's look at the league table because I really cannot believe Sean Dyche did that to De Zerbi. That was insane. 5-1. Brighton must have just had a very, very bad day today for that to
There's like
happen. There's
30
no way.
seconds they scored, wasn't it? Inside 30
Yeah, but
seconds.
5-1. Was it 5-1 at home as
Mm.
well? That. If you think of that, where they were, and I said it, I saw the Man United game, and Brighton were like, at the end of the game, it was like party time. It was like such a great buzz. To follow that up with tonight's, or today's rather, this early evening, 5-1 at home. It's incredible, man. Incredible.
Well,
Never ever.
Let's look at it. So you've got Manchester City, who are top of the table with a game in hand on Arsenal. Arsenal with a big win at Newcastle. I think a lot of people felt that would be a draw win for Newcastle. I predicted a draw, but listen, Arsenal took their chances. Newcastle didn't, and that was the difference. So Arsenal's still in that league title race. We have to say that they are. Newcastle and United are now allowing Liverpool into the race. So now suddenly it's a three-horse race between Newcastle, United, and Liverpool. Man United losing Newcastle, another stinker away. Newcastle losing, Liverpool getting the win. Puts them, like I just said, back in the race. Spurs, really, I think we're contending for either Europa or Conference League. Brighton losing helps us. We've got Villa next away. Villa win, they go.
That's a cup final now, isn't it?
I think the Villa
they
game's
tie.
key, isn't it?
That's a cup final now. Really is.
It's key for.
It's key for us to know where we're going. If we
Yeah,
end
but
up
we
losing
did-
that
we did-
game,
JP, with
I
distance-
feel we'll go downwards.
If beating Aston Villa would distance ourselves from them first and foremost, and create a little gap between us and Brighton, albeit they still have 2 games in hand. So Tottenham, Aston Villa, or Aston Villa, Tottenham, it's going to be massive this weekend. Honestly, it's huge. It's huge from a Europa perspective. It's not huge for the grand scale of things, but I still feel we need some sort of Europe, man. Conference, and I agree with you guys. I'm not mad on going to conference, but Europa is still not a bad competition.
Well, what would it?
to be
What would the real benefit of it be, Iggy? Because I can't see any benefit to us.
For
Couple
me,
of quid getting in Europe next year.
It's the manager, the new manager, depending who it is coming in. It does make a difference to being in Europe, even if it's just Europa. They're not being it at all. The Kane Son situation, perhaps. I don't know, man. I'm just thinking about the good players that we have in our team. That's. I feel like they got to be in some sort of level Europa. I think any less than Europa, then no.
If you don't think we qualify for Europa, then do you think they're just going to go? Here's a transfer request.
Perhaps, but in terms of spending money and stuff like that, I don't think it's going to be any difference because we would have spent our money going into
in the frigging Champions League. We didn't spend money,
so
exactly.
For them to come and tell us that we haven't got any money because we're not in the Champions League would be an absolute farce.
And that's why, for me, I kind of think if we get in the Europa, or if we get in the Conference League, it's kind of almost going to be, we'll be at the same thing next season, right? It's not like we can attract better players, or we're Champions League, because we didn't attract the better players this year. So that kind of question kind of like seems to be out of the mind. Once we start getting into that competition a little bit, and it starts getting Thursday, Sunday, in the end, we're just going to go, we're near the top 4. Let's just jack in that competition, and it will become a nuisance again.
Yeah.
So, to me, I feel, as much as I want Tottenham to win every game, kind of right now, in a way, next season, if we get a new fresh manager in, whoever it is, fresh ideas, fresh players or whatever, give them the whole week, give them a game a week, let them do what Newcastle are doing now. Basically, with no European football, just being able to focus on the team, new manager, new playing style, new formation, whatever the hell that all entails. Let them build something that way. It's my view.
There's no right or wrongs by all means. I just feel like with a team like Tottenham have got to be in the Europa Cup for various different reasons, but I still think we need Europe. The exciting project, or the exciting manager coming in will benefit Tottenham regardless of whether we're in Europe or not. We need someone that comes in and really, really starts building upwards, ground up. So I don't know. I just feel not having Europe completely will be, on the back of last season, will be a complete travesty, man. But then again, it's been that sort of season. So if we can end up with no Europe, then it wouldn't be a shock either.
You can't have a stadium like ours
and not be in Europe. I agree.
It doesn't make sense. Like in an ideal world,
what does that bring, though? Still, if we play Mora, what does that bring?
Well, this is what I was about to say. It depends as a club how we treat the competition. So for me, if we're in the Europa Cup, I'd treat that as serious competition you've got to try and win, because one, no matter what anyone says, all right, it's a B-Tech Champions League, but it is the old UEFA Cup. There's some prestige with that, and it's a European trophy. So you should look to win that regardless. Plus, it's going to be so difficult to get top 4 next year. That might be the best chance. Win that and you're back in the Champions League. So if we're in the Europa Cup, I say you make it one of your priorities for next season. If we're in the Conference League, look, in an ideal world, I think we all want that to be a test bed for the kids. Play the under-21s. Play some under-18s. Whether we win, lose or draw, even if we're struggling, just stick with them. And if by any chance they do well and they get out the group, stick with them. Don't start suddenly saying, right, Kane, you play, Son, you play. Remember, no. Make it their competition, because we're not in it to win it. We're in it to give an experience to the kids. And if the kids get out of the group, reward them. Say, listen, you deserve this, man. You're playing the next round. Yeah. So that's what I would do with it. But my concern is that we might actually play stronger players because Mourinho and Conte both did that. So I don't know. It depends what the club are demanding from the managers. So and that's what I would like, depending which competition we're in next season.
But that would be my stance anyway, I think. And if we go into a competition, I want to win it, right? We go into that Europa, we have to take it seriously. But that's where I'm kind of, my view is coming from, is that there's no point getting in it because we won't take it seriously. We'll still end up playing Pierre Højbjerg on a Thursday, on a Sunday, on a Thursday, on a Sunday. Kane will still play on a Thursday, on a Sunday, yada da 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 da.
Yes, that a lot of our games will be on a Sunday. You're right.
And then in the end we'll go. We're 6 points away from top 4. Let's just not turn up in one of the games, and then the disappointment starts again. If we focus going into it to win it, all out to win it, and we have a manager who has that mentality and will not break from that, fair enough.
I think Spurs fans need to be realistic as well, because unfortunately, I don't think our fan base is realistic when it comes to competitions. The issue I've got is Pochettino used to have a lot of criticism. Oh, he dismisses the smaller competitions. He dismisses the FA Cup and the League Cup. He doesn't take it seriously. Whereas he nearly won us the league and we nearly won the Champions League because he did that. So Spurs need to decide, what do you want? Do you want to go for everything and end up winning nothing because we'll get injuries, suspensions, and we'll fall apart? Because we are not gonna have the squad for it next season. Or do you focus on do what you can in the league, because finishing as high up in the league is important. But if you're not going to win the league, what's the point? And just try and win a trophy and just say, right, we're going to go for the FA Cup and we're going to go for the Europa. They're the two we're going to target the most. Or the and probably the easiest of the lot to try and win, and the Europa, because that gets you back into Champions League. And say, right, that's where we're going to put our energy, because this Thursday night, Sunday, we know how that works out. We know that. Look at Man United. Look how it's cost them. Look at now, they're wobbling because of them Thursday night games, Sunday, picking up injuries and suspensions.
Now, aren't they?
Well, they lost key players in that competition. They lost their entire defence in that competition.
And Liverpool are now sneaking up behind. Liverpool can make Champions League now.
Mate, I think Liverpool are going to do it. I think Liverpool are going to get top 4.
You know, if you think of the season that they've had, for them to actually make Champions League, my word.
And you know what's funny?
Word.
If we had the manager for next season, whoever that's going to be, in the day after Conte was sacked, we could have made it. We could have been in that race, but we blew it because that's the decision Levy made, and it is what it is. But
Liverpool and Man City have been the most consistent results-wise in the last 5 games. Both of them have got wins, 5 wins in a row. No one else in that run in top 8 have done that.
We've got 1 win in 5.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to, man. If you look at the form right now, it's who's hitting form. You got Aston Villa now, who have lost the last 2, so they're not in great shape themselves. To be fair,
I think they've been found out. They're
not in great shape. So Saturday's going to be massive, and I don't know which way it can go. But it all comes down to whether we turn up for that game or not. And I think if we can win Saturday, somehow get a win, I think Brentford at home is doable. And then obviously Leeds away, depending where they're at. It all comes down to that. But I think Saturday will be the make or break. If we come away with that defeated, then I'll say, do you know what? Forget about it. It's done.
Well, look. Let's have a look at what happened on Saturday. We did play Crystal Palace at home. We got a win. Before the game started, the team lineups were out and there was a couple of changes. Some I think were positive, some were questionable. But if we look at it...
Before the back.
Well, I think the big one was Eric Dyer. Eric Dyer being dropped for me was the big one. Forrester was in goal. We had Chicken Royale, who's now fit. He started. Romero, Longley as a back two with Porro as the was he on the left or the right? I can't remember.
Porro was on the right. Davis was
That's
on the
it.
left at the fullbacks.
Mm.
There were fullbacks. Back four.
That's it. And then Royale playing almost as a wide player. With
No, it was more Porro was up front because
Yeah,
like
Porro was a
sometimes
winger, man.
sometimes they switched from a back three to a back four. So effectively,
It
Emerson
was a
was a
4-4-2. It was a 4-4-2
right back.
essentially.
yeah, but
4-4-2.
we're saying
Porro on
yeah,
the
but
right,
if we
Son on the left.
but that's what I'm saying. If it was a 4-4-2, then Chicken Royale was
Emerson
on the right
Emerson
wing,
was
Son
right
was
back.
on the left.
No,
No,
Emerson
Royale
was right back. Royal
Porro
was
was
Sorry,
right
Porro,
back.
beg your pardon here. Right, sorry guys. Porro was the winger. Sorry, my bad. Porro was wide. Son was on the other flank. Skip and Højbjerg in the 2-man midfield, and then Kane and Richie up front.
That's
So,
right.
like, when you saw this, what was your thoughts on it? Because I was happy that Eric Dyer had been dropped, but I was also a bit concerned of the back four again.
I think. Go on.
No.
Go on,
I
JP.
was just going to say, kind of, my view was from what I've seen so far. Obviously, we know Emerson's good. Well, I don't want to say good at defending, but he's better defending than he is going forward, right? Because he kind of gets a nosebleed when he goes over the halfway line. Whereas Porro, he much more enjoys and prefers and seems more comfortable being in that second half of the pitch and being able to whip the ball in than like defending. So almost, I said to the guy next to me half time, kind of like the start of the game, ideally we like we kind of want half and half there, kind of like that's what we want as a kind of like a defender, like half of Porro and half of like Royale. But and that seemed to be all right with like them two there. Porro had a lot of space. Like that's one thing I noticed. He had a lot of space, and really we should have fed him the ball a hell of a lot more. But I down that side, I thought it worked quite well, to be honest with you. And even when Emerson was running around midfield and stuff like that, at those points, Porro dropped back and covered his position because he's obviously used to being there, so like he knows what positions to take up. Whether he could defend it or not is a different story. But
what did you make of the defense, JP, without Dyer in the back?
I think I said this the other day. I think with looking at Romero and Longley, they seemed a lot more calmer together. Like there was no last-ditch tackles and no panicking or anything like that. Both of them, to me, looked like they played quite well together. Seemed to have a bit of an understanding. I didn't see much panic between them, kind of like, to be fair. So, and I don't know if because Eric Dyer sees himself as a senior player or any of them sees him as a senior player and suddenly starts listening to him or dictating to him or having to cover for him or whatever. It kind of seemed that those two fitted quite well. And I would much rather see that going forward. I don't know if that looked different on TV or what.
Romero had a good game.
Yeah,
I
that
will
was
say
his
that.
better game. That was his
Romero
better
had
game.
a good game.
He had a good game, and I thought Longley is really good at playing the ball out from the back, and that's the real good thing about having Longley there. That is playing from the. This is something that Dyer should be offering. His ball, playing from the back is the best thing that Longley has. He's really good and comfortable on the ball. Davis gives us a little bit more solidity, and it seems to fit that role a bit better at left back than say Perisic, who was another one that was dropped on the previous game. And having Emerson back, all of a sudden that you've got four players at the back that really and truly their first job has to be to defend. So that there's nothing about going forward. It's all about defending, and that's where I think against Newcastle, where we offered that back four, we'd played that back four with Porro and Perisic as our fullbacks. It was wrong time to try it against the wrong team in the wrong moment, and we got absolutely peppered for it. So for me personally, it was the right time to try it with the right players. It was the right balance to do it, and then it gave Porro and Son the license to just go forward and offer the flanks, give us a bit more width, and to do their thing without having to be so overwhelmed to do. And I thought it worked. It worked better for us. And I think as well, and I've always said this: if you're going to play Richarlison, not that I think he was that much better this time around, but it has to be up front, close to Kane. I always said we've got to play the two up front. So on that aspect, I think it's a good start. Whether we're going to, it'll be interesting to see if we play the same way at Aston Villa on Saturday, because
There's no need to
chop and
change it,
change.
is there?
Can I ask you guys something? Is Ryan Mason a bit lucky because other than Ryan Sessegnon and Bentancur, everyone's now fit. Richarlison's back, Emerson's back, Bissouma was on the bench, all the defenders are fit, bar Sessegnon. Davies is back. Is Ben Davies a little bit lucky that he doesn't have
Ryan
the injury
Mason.
problems that? Yeah, sorry, Ryan Mason. Is he a bit lucky that he doesn't have the injury problems that Conte was beginning to have and Stellini had?
Listen, perhaps so, but I don't think he's lucky in the sense that he's got to go with what he's got available. If the players aren't available,
Yeah, but that's my point, Iggy. Has he not got more available? Has he not got more choices?
He has got more available, but at the same time, he's doing something with it. He's not, when he was able to try something different, he's done it when he's had the players available. What Stellini did wrong for me was to try something new, which was all hoping for, but to do it away
with the wrong
against
players.
Newcastle, and to do it with Perisic and Porro as fullbacks in the back four was suicide. He did it with Dyer, Porro, and Perisic in our back four. If that isn't committing suicide, I don't know what is. I don't know if he was put under pressure to try it. I don't know what. With Corey Boy, we did say we was going to use Kane of the Lane.
We did say to you, man.
We said it. We told you we liked
everyone
it.
watching the show. Just so you know, today's title for the show, King Kane of the Lane, goes to the man you see at the bottom of the screen, Corey Boy 85. He came up with the name. So let's give him some shout outs and big up to Corey Boy for the name.
But we told you on Friday. I said it to you. As soon as I saw it, I said, I like it. Or was it on Saturday's watching? I can't remember. I saw it and I said, you know what? There's your title right there. It was after the watch along after the game. And we said it. So big up, Corey. But yeah, look, he tried it in the wrong game for me. The back four, it should never have been done in that time. He should have kept to a back five. However, I did say with the players available again, we could try that. And he's done it. Do you know what? Sometimes a little bit of novelty, a little tweak, a little change, it also revitalizes the players that are playing it, because they'll be like, do you know what? He's trying something new. Let's try and make it work for him. So listen, he's lucky that he's got players available, but we need it, man. Because we're not a team blessed with a big squad. So
I think my view would be still like while you say he's lucky, I don't think Conte would have gone with a back four.
Never ever would have gone with a back four.
So
never.
I think he showed that he literally just wanted to play with a back three, and that was it, right? So whereas Mason's trying something different, or at the end of the day, I think I saw someone just say something in the chat. He's got nothing to play for, really, is he? All right, as high as possible, or try and get in Europa or whatever it is.
Okay, JP, let me question you on something, right? So he has gone to a back four, something that Conte wouldn't do. We got the win. The football was crap. When Conte was winning by a goal, 2-1s, 3-2s, 1-0s, oh, this is crap. So I'm just trying to understand now. He's getting praised. Yeah, but I'm just saying he's getting praised for mixing it up, but the performance is just as crap.
The expectation on the Mason is not the same as the one when you had the Conte.
Up to a point, I agree with you still. But I think it's also on the other side of the coin for me is that it seemed we were quite rigid in a way before, whereas where he's coming in and trying something different, it's still crap, but at least he's trying something different to try and find a solution, find a way. And I think that's where he's probably getting the honeymoon period, let's say.
For me, I think the Aston Villa away game would be the most telling, because that as I don't know, was it Iggy said earlier on, that's the cup final. Let's see how we perform Let's see how we do in that game because we're on a bit of a high. We're a little bit of a high. And Villa, they need to bounce back. Otherwise, they're staring at 3 defeats in a row if they lose to us. So,
I think the most important thing about the weekend was keeping that clean sheet. Because, as I said earlier, from shipping in 15 goals or whatever it is in the last 4 games, I think keeping that clean sheet was probably the most important thing.
what did you
Albeit
make of?
against Crystal Palace, it seemed a little bit toothless, to be honest. Which is weird because like they were coming off a run of good form, weren't they? So I was expecting them to be a little bit more in our faces, a little bit more at us. But the form maybe stuffed them out.
Would you make of Pedro Porro? Because he had to come off social media a couple of weeks ago because of the abuse he got for his performance in the game. He's only been at the club for a couple of months. I thought that cross from Porro for Kane's goal was absolute top draw.
Spot on, mustard.
Top draw.
And that's what he can do. And
that's what Emerson can't give us. This is what Chicken Morale can't give us, right?
Which is why I was saying, ideally, I want half and half. Do you know what I mean? I want half of Emerson and half of like Pedro, because him going forward and like he's also happy taking on a player in a way, and he whips those crosses in. And as for the social media thing a little while ago, I don't know how fickle some fans are, what it is, but like the guy's like only been here bloody 5 minutes. You know what I mean? And really, to be honest, it's also not a great advert for any players that we want coming here. It literally shows them if you have 2 bad games in the first 3 games, 4 games, whatever it is, you're just going to get battered on social media. Why is a player going to want to come?
I'll tell you
why society or fans or whatever you want to call them take to people's or players in this case social media to go and bash them, whether it be
because everyone's got a voice now. Everyone's allowed an opinion.
Understand that, man. Save it for the pitch. You know, if you want to show your discontent of what you've seen on the pitch, do so at the stadium, at the ground, but do so criticizing the player's performance. Don't go on to personal stuff. Going into people's Instagram to go and custom their family or their race or their ethnicity, whatever you want to call it, it is absolutely wrong. That part
Let me tell you, Iggy, I'll tell you what it is, right? I'll tell you what it comes down to, right? Because I experience this all the time. Football has got to be the most unique sport out there, right? And I'll probably put American football in it as well. Those kinds of sports. I'll tell you why. If your car breaks down and it goes to the mechanic, you don't tell the mechanic how to fix the car. You don't tell the mechanic what to do with the car, right? If your child is struggling at English or science, you don't tell the science teacher, listen, you're teaching the science wrong here. Give my kids some more test tubes and some liquids to mix and where's potassium, right? And if you own a business or you've got to do tax returns, you don't tell the accountant how to do the tax returns, how to put the accounts together, what advice to give you, whether or not he's giving you good advice. You don't do that. When it comes to football, everyone's an expert. Oh my, you got to do this formation, this tactic, you got to make this sub, the manager's getting this wrong, what's the chairman doing? Oh, these coaches are poor, why is he at left back? The striker shouldn't be playing. And I get it all the time. People come up to me, why have you made that decision? Why are you doing this? Surely you should. I'm like, do you talk to your accountant, to your teacher, to anyone that you pay money to do a job for you? Do you tell the builder how to build the house? Football is insane. It is insane, man. And it's just, maybe because so many people watch it on a regular basis, they think now that they know a lot. Because you don't really watch people fix a car or watch builders build a house, do you? You don't really watch them do it, but it is what it is, man. And that's why social media is like that, because everyone thinks they know best.
But up until they talk about football, I don't even mind that still. It's when they start bringing their backgrounds or where they come from, or start slating their families. That to me is totally unacceptable.
Yeah, it gets personal.
So Son experienced it on at the match on the weekend. Some like racism.
Yeah, the Crystal Palace fans were racist.
Emerson.
To
Yeah.
him.
So what I'm trying to say
yeah.
is, I'm fine with critics. I'm fine with people talking shit, even when they don't know nothing about football. I can accept all of that as long as it's to do with what was seen on the pitch. Some people get it, some people don't. Some people have. Everyone's got an opinion on it, but that's fine. It's football. It doesn't matter. But when you go into the socials to attack people, their family or where they're from, and they get personal with them, to the point where that player has to take down his social media account, that
It's
is
a joke.
I don't think after the game I've been happy with my team. I don't think I'm going to go on Instagram or on Twitter to go and attack that player personally. I don't think of things like that. I don't understand where it's become acceptable to do that. I don't get it. Someone is going to have to explain it to me because I don't get it.
And to an extent, Dyer doesn't
By the
get
way,
it
it's
that much,
3-2.
does he?
And Forest Southampton 3-2.
Yeah. Dyer doesn't get it that much, does he?
What's
I'm
that,
sure
mate?
Dyer doesn't get it that
I
much.
don't think it's on social media, is he? By the way, I'm having what's it. Anyone? People asking what I'm eating. What's it?
What's it?
I know. I don't think Dyer even has a social media account. He's smart. He's not stupid enough to have a social media account. Who would? Honestly, it'd be crazy for him to have one.
Peter Snodgrass, I don't have a problem with Ryan Mason. I just asked, is he lucky because he's getting the injured players back? I just asked the question. This is what I mean. This is exactly what I mean. Everything I just said, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
What's
People
your problem with Ryan Mason?
What did you say?
Bang!
What did you bang? Like, oh my god! I don't mind because at the end of the day, when you do YouTube, you put yourself out there, so you expect it. And he wasn't rude. He's just being defensive.
Just asking a question.
But even on here, I wouldn't have a
just
problem with
asking
anyone.
a question, right?
Yeah,
I wouldn't have.
And I put the question on the screen as well. So
with anyone disagreeing with what we're saying or anything football related that we speak about, I don't have a problem with anyone, even if they want to like. But it's just getting personal. That's that part. I would never ever accept.
Using the Benson boat to burn a hole in the deck. Rams, my friend, you say it's weird. For 10 months, you could be top of the table. Next thing you know, you can be second. Rams, that is not
with Man
weird.
City about, mate.
That's not weird. It's called bottle job. You bottled it, my friend. By the way, you still got an outside chance, by the way. Still got an outside chance. That win in Newcastle was kept him alive.
That was a massive win. Massive win. And I said it. I did say on the Friday night show, I said if Arsenal beat Newcastle, they're back in it. I don't know whether they'll go on to win it because Man City have picked up another gear now. You know, they seem to be battering teams left, right, and centre, and they look like they're gonna go. They want to go for all of them, all in and triple. But you know what? You just got to be right there behind now, in the hope they slip up. Obviously, us Spurs fans are all wishing otherwise. I'm not going to lie, but from a football perspective,
Brighton are going to get a draw at the Emirates, and it'll be done this weekend.
Well, 5-1 tonight. Brighton at home.
Yeah. De Zerbi's going to crack the whip. De Zerbi's
5-1. I don't know, man. That you don't know how that's going to go now.
That, he ain't going to be happy about that, though. You see him on a touchline. Can you imagine him in training tomorrow?
What did you make of the performance of Richarlison? Because again, he got another chance. He started up front. I wasn't impressed. I'm going to get abuse. I'm going to get hate. Oh, you've got it in for Richarlison. I just think he's crap. I'm being honest. I think he's crap. I don't rate him. Not for me. What did you make? Because how many more chances are you going to get?
What I would say is that I would expect more for the value of money we paid for him. I would expect more from the fact that he's played in the Premier League before. I would expect more that he's kind of like where he has come from Everton, and he has that experience of goal scoring, stepping up into I want to say a top 6 team, but it is an upgrade from Everton. And I expected him to take it almost with both feet. But he spends a lot of time on the floor, a lot of time. And I know we kind of got him for this niggly and kind of shithousery and all of that stuff, but I also want goals out of him when he plays. I also want a bit of the end product. It's not his fault. It was 66 million quid, but for us to part with 66 million quid, and we don't part with money that often, especially big value on like a single player. I would have expected that the decision we made to bring him in would have paid off a hell of a lot more. Realistically, all he did in that game was one little chip over a defender.
I just feel like he's had chances. He's had some game time, and he's scored one goal, and maybe one or two assists. And I think £60 million. I don't know. He's already been in the Premier League. He doesn't need to bed in. I mean, what did you make of it, Iggy?
He's fucking pony. There's no other way of putting it, man. He honestly is pony, man. He's pony, man.
Fucking pony.
He's no. The fact they don't stand on his feet for long enough.
That is annoying, though. JP said it. That is annoying. He's always going down, isn't he? Always slipping, always faking.
I'd find it annoying to play with him. If I was playing in midfield, I had him in front of me, he'd do my fucking head in. That's that, and I'll let him know as well. I couldn't tolerate playing with a player like that. Someone that can't stand on his feet long enough. He seems to struggle to get the ball under control. It's almost to be bouncing off his knee or his foot, or it's always like 2 yards ahead of him. I don't know. He'd do my head in. He would do my absolute head in, and I'd be like, let Kane drop in. You stay, one come short, one go long. But then if you're not going to be a menace like on your touches and stuff like that. Let me give you an example, right? Because it's the only one I can think of right now, and I'm sure maybe Gary Lineker, if you like, or more the ones that probably remember Pippo Inzaghi. He didn't contribute too much in playing, as a team player, but you knew that if the ball was ever to come in the box, he'd be alive. I want him to be someone like that. He's not someone that's gonna like he's not going to be a Kane of the situation.
He's not Messi. He's not Benzema.
He's not going to do any of that.
Like
bringing the team up or be part of the build-up in play. But what I want to see from him is like in and around the box. I want him to look dangerous. Someone that's like, you know what, you put the ball in that box and he will be there. Like he doesn't even do that. So people that fight his corner, and I've tried to be patient with him. I've always said, look, give him a run up front, give him a run in the middle. Don't play him out wide. Play him in through the middle. And now that he's getting his opportunities, I know it's like he has been getting a few more opportunities of late. Danjuma, for me, has done more in the little impact cameo roles that he's had coming on than he has had for vast majority.
You know what? It's true. You're right. And I've been slagging off Danjuma.
And yeah, listen, we've all done it, but when you look at it, thinking Danjuma's made more of an impact coming on, and he's scored more than him.
Scored more goals.
He's actually scored more goals than him. So I'm like, you know what? I said it a while ago. If I'm looking for a player, an attacking player right now to have an impact on the match, he'd be my first choice. Danjuma would be my first choice. So, and also it seems like he's up for it. He starts pressing. He's not someone that falls around, falls on the floor. He seems like straight facts. He's there for the cause and he wants to impact it. So that's how I see it. So yeah, to answer the question, so far, man, I can't think of anything else to say other than he's been fucking pony, and I stand to it. I stand by it, man.
What about Richarlison? Not Richarlison. What about Kulusevski, who came on?
Oh, Kulu. Well, you should ask me again. My answer's still the same.
Kulu, I just wanted to hear you say it again. So yeah,
Kulu.
What do you think?
Oh, you know, you said to me, "What do you reckon that player?" If I think he's rubbish, that's always my response. He's fucking pony, and that's it. The conversation's dead. But in regards to Kulu's different. It's been weird. It's been a weird season for Kulu. When you think of what we had when he joined, then all of a sudden he's had these injuries that sort of. But look, he's still a quality player. I just think he's suffered the situation of the team and the club this season. And don't forget, man, he's 21, 22 years old. So he suffered our situation this
hold
year.
on a minute. We can't say Richarlison is fucking pony, but
I
Kulu,
can.
he suffered this season. Why hasn't Richie suffered this season? And why is it one rule for one player different for the other?
No, for
Why
me,
can't we say actually
I'm talking
Kulu
about the
is playing
basics.
pretty crap?
He has played. Kulu has been. But we've seen Kulu play well. When have you seen Richarlison?
But we've seen Richarlison score 10 goals and keep Everton up last season. I'm just playing devil's advocate. Maybe is it possible that Kulu actually is a one-trick pony? I'm just asking. Is that why Juventus got rid of him?
I'm not too.
I mean, they're all valid questions.
Well, that's the question, right?
I know what you're doing. I know what you're saying.
Like,
I know what you're saying. But
to be fair, it's a valid question. It's a valid question to ask. I think when he came and started with us,
by the way, that
last
question's
season,
also to you guys in the chat. What do you guys make of it?
Yeah, he kind of literally exploded on the scene, didn't he? And hit a purple patch, and like everything was rosy. Since he's been injured and since he's come back, he hasn't been the same. I don't know why, but I don't whether he's fully recovered from the injury or the whole upheaval of starting, not starting, confidence going down. Because even hearing him at the back end of last season or after the season finished, it's almost like he was on a high, right? So kind of going to the season, I think that injuries knocked him.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's played a part.
He could go for Richarlison as well, but not so much. I don't know if without having Bentancur in the team anymore, that link-up's not there.
Do you know with Richie though, for me, it's not even the fact that he's playing bad or he hasn't scored goals. I don't see the quality in him. I'm trying to see the quality, what he brings. Like the touches are not there. The falling on the floor. He doesn't do anything. That I'm trying to see what he actually brings. Thinking, okay, if you haven't got the touch, what is it that you've got? What is it about? The only thing I ever see from him is going face to face to players to give them shit. Like if there's a little little tussle, he's in there in the thick of things. He'll square up to people, and he does things like that.
A little bit of shit housery, really. Yeah.
Do you know what?
But other than that, what does he bring?
I know what you mean because at least with Kulu, you do see him slip and keep passing between the lines. You see when he gets in his left foot, he's always looking to curl it, top bins, and he does try and take on a player. I know what you mean with Kulu. You can see there's something there.
There's something there, exactly.
But with Richie, it's true. Other than the occasional crazy thing, like, did you see when he scooped the ball and lifted it over the player?
Chip. Yeah, that's the thing. That chip. That was the only thing he did the whole game.
If you think about where he did it, I'm thinking that was just nuts. Insane. It was just nuts. It was just off the cuff stuff, just he's going to do it near our area. And you're like, why? Poro was right next to him. He thought, you know what? I'm not going to pass it and do a 1-2 and get out of this situation by doing a little 1-2 in and around this player. I'm going to scoop this ball over him and try and get around the other side. And I'm like,
but I don't mind that. I like that stuff, Iggy. I absolutely like that stuff.
He likes to showboat.
I don't mind the showboating at the other side of the pitch.
He needs to have the.
But he needs to score goals as well.
In his role, man. Right? What's his role?
Strikers has got to score goals. But also JP is the fact that when he's not playing, he sulks about it, he moans about it, he wants game time, he wants this. He wants all of that. And then you're like, come on, show us.
Yeah. I mean, with that, I don't have a problem. It shows that he wants to play and it shows that he wants to do it. But when he's on the pitch, he's got to show what he's really got. And his role in that team is to either help score a goal or score a goal himself.
In the next 3 games, it remains to be seen just how much he plays. I think Mason's going to play him a little bit more. But listen, in the next 3 games, if he proves deadly, in the next 3 games, look, if he bangs in a hat trick, 2 or 3 goals against Villa, gets us a win, and then he goes on to score for the next couple of games, you can say, you know what, maybe, just maybe, next season we're going to see another animal. But right now, man, I've not seen enough.
I actually think there's something in what Sammy says. I think he looks better in the Paul Everton side. I've said it on many shows.
It's not been exciting Spurs. It's not been that top Spurs this year, is it?
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is, Iggy, I've said it with managers and I've said it with players. sometimes
Big
a
fish.
player shines, because the
Big
pressure
fish
isn't
in that
right.
pond.
Like, how will De Zerbi manage being at Man United, being at Tottenham, being at Arsenal, being at a club that wants top four, that wants to be in Champions League? Likewise with players, we saw it. Emil Heskey, dynamite for Leicester City, went up a level, wobbled. Zaha, quality at Crystal Palace, went to Man United, wobbled. And this is the thing. It could just be Richarlison. Listen, man, that pigeon relegation level, that's where you are, man. This is the big league now. You're at one of the so-called, I don't know if we actually are, but we're a so-called top six club. Can you hack the pressure of the fans here? Can you handle the pressure of a chairman that's going to sack the manager anytime there's a problem? And maybe, just maybe, he can't hack it, man. It's too much. It happens.
Unfortunately, when these managers make changes, you won't know if the Zerbi's going to hack it at a big team until he goes there.
Correct.
Same with players. Some people sink, some people they survive. So it's like swim or sink sort of thing. But you don't know until it happens.
I'll tell you what is interesting, guys. We're talking about players and what we think and who did well, who did badly, and where we're at, and the defense being changed and tactics. But what was really interesting this week?
Glenn.
What was that one?
No, Glenn, he's saying
We'll be a bottom six.
Don't worry, we'll be there next year.
Listen,
we're at the bottom of the top six. That's for sure.
Well, what was interesting this week is the Højbjerg came out and made some comments, and I put it up on our channel. I'll get it up now, because the reason I say this is because
it's a good talk for that one.
The reason I want to look at this is because a user down there said it's all good talking about players. What the fuck's going on with the coach and football director? Now, it's interesting you say that, because let's see if I can make this a bit bigger.
He's a good talker, this guy.
Højbjerg was interviewed, and he basically said, let's move the banner from below. The Newcastle result was rubbish. The Liverpool 1-2. Results you feel ashamed about. Of course, you feel responsible. The whole team does. The club, the staff too. We need to do the basics properly, not collapse when we've had bad days, right? We've heard that all before. Clubs have safety nets. Now, listen, I want to come back to that. Safety nets. I've never heard of this term before for a football team. But anyway, clubs have safety nets to secure themselves against these collapses. When asked if Tottenham currently has these safety nets, Højbjerg said, I think you know the answer to that. We've had 3 coaches in the last 3 months. Clearly, we've lost some balance. Beg your pardon. I'm not saying that we've not got the club support, but you need the right culture at the club. DNA, identity. My God, how many times have those words come up on these shows? This is built over time through good and bad experiences. You get to know each other as a team and as a club. The best teams in the world build this over time. He then went on to say, asked if they've not been able to perform due to issues at the club. He said, I disagree. It's a much bigger picture. If you disagree, what's the bigger picture? Things are happening, but it's true. We don't know who our next coach is or who our next director of football is. So he's just contradicted himself with his answer. All these things. Well, this is why I want to bring up Iggy. All these things create unrest and show a lack of long-term planning. All of that will come when we get the next coach, next director of football. But until then, obviously, some players will point to this as an issue. It's not my place to analyze this. I need to make myself available as a player to keep developing as a player. So let's break this down. What do you mean by safety net? Does anyone in the comments know what he means by safety net?
Never heard that expression before. Never.
Well, I guess
safety net for me is someone who's trying to save a bit of money.
Well, if it's not working, get rid of the manager.
Yeah, but he says
that's their easy get out, isn't it?
Yeah, but the question says clubs have safety nets to secure themselves against these collapses. And then the interviewer said, does Tottenham have these safety nets? And he said, I think you know the answer to that, meaning no. We've had 3 coaches in 3 months. So what do you mean safety net?
That's what he's saying, as in kind of like to stop us falling, right? Because a safety net is something just to like keep you there, right? Kind of like keep you there. And if it's not working, what'd you do? So we get rid of manager one. Then we get rid of, and that's what he's gone on to say. I think we've just had 3 coaches, and what do you think? We've just had 3 coaches in the last 3 months.
So what's he saying? There's too many safety nets.
No, I think the safety net means
Because-
stability. I think it means stability of the club. Like you have clubs. I know it's funny to say when Real Madrid has a little hiccup. Even Liverpool, who's had a big hiccup, but look at that right now. They're challenging for now top 4. I think our club it's so there's no structure, there's no organization with our club. We don't have a safety net. We technically don't. You know, even Chelsea, who's having a bad year, their safety net is basically spend their way back into stability. You know, whereas we don't really have that stability. So I think when he says safety net, because he says to secure themselves against these collapses, I think he's meaning safety net from the club in the sense of we don't have that structure when we're falling. It's nothing that can stop us from falling. But I could be wrong.
Well, he says, I think Mario might be right because he says clearly we've lost some balance, meaning we are still falling, right? So, okay, let's assume that that's what he means by safety net. He then goes on to say, and this is something many Spurs fans on many channels have said, especially Bob. Bob's been saying it for God knows how long. Bob Spur. You need to have the right culture at the club, DNA and identity. So he's basically saying we don't have a DNA, we don't have an identity, we don't have a culture, or we don't have the right one.
Well, we don't. We chop and change every time a next new shiny manager becomes available.
You know, the thing that frustrates me is for those you still see on Twitter, right? Because they posted this interview. You have a player. I mean, this is like inside sources, right? All right, you could discredit David Webb as a man scorned, you know, who worked for us and whatsoever. You have a guy, literally, I'm surprised Hoiberg's not in trouble because literally he is saying that this club does not have the right culture. It doesn't have a DNA. It doesn't have an identity. Where does that come from, right? It doesn't, people, don't get it twisted. It doesn't come from the coach, right? It doesn't come from Conte or Jose Maria or Pochettino. It starts with the ethos, right? I'm gonna take the word from Saba, ethos, right? Of your club, of your business, and everything in life. My school, I work at a school, right? And we have a ethos, we have a motto, right? That every teacher, every counselor, every administrator, I'm an administrator there, that we follow. We created together and said, for these next 5-10 years, this is our standard, this is our ethos, this is what, from administration to employment to the students, this is what we are. At Tottenham, we don't have that, right? I could tell you what Ajax is. I could tell you Borussia Dortmund. I could tell you Bayern. Heck, I could even tell you Chelsea. Even with the change of owners, of what is their identity, what is their culture. But in Tottenham, we don't have that because the problem is we have a non-football guy, right? An accountant that is wanting to establish the DNA of this club. And that can't happen. He has never kicked the ball. He has never scouted. He has had nothing to do with on-field football. And so that's the discouragement. And I know last couple of weeks we talked about there's no history at the club, at the stadium, you know. So
but Mary, whilst I agree with what you're saying, I don't know who Hoiberg is to be speaking like this. I don't know when this interview was done, if it was done after the Newcastle game or what have you. I just don't know what qualifies Hoiberg to be speaking in this manner of this club. Who's even given the go-ahead for him to have such an interview, and more so to speak in the manner that it has? Who the fuck is this guy? What has he done?
But he's a player. He's one of our players, Iggy, right? And if he's asked that question, it sounds like he's answered it in an honest way.
I don't know. I think he's
Right.
chatting shit.
Why-
I said it from the moment I read it. He's chatting shit.
A
It's
lot of people in the
contradictory.
comments are saying that they think safety net means a contingency plan. So if you're going to sack Conte, what's the plan? And that's what he's saying is you sacked Conte, there was no plan. So you put Stellini in, you sacked Stellini, there was no plan. You put Mason in. So I think what they're saying is when we sacked Poch, Mourinho was ready to go. There was that was the safety net. I think that's that kind of makes a bit of sense to me.
But whilst I agree with what you're saying. I just don't think a player is qualified enough to openly talk about it in this way. And especially him. Especially him.
Yeah.
If Kane had said those words, you know what? It might have a bit of weight to it, and certainly not so contradictory as it is written there. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think the whole thing stinks. Like, I just don't like the fact that it's come out. I just don't like the fact that it's him that's.
But we want players to be honest, like when they ask questions, right? Rather than him saying, "Oh, everything's all right. We'll try better next time." So like rather than coming out with that same old trap.
I would love to hear this from Kane. You know why? Because Kane believes what Horbick says. Remember, I told you from my inside sources about.
I forgot he's on the player committee. My bad.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Harry Kane
Senior player committee. Senior player committee.
Spurs, we have a player committee apparently.
Everything Horbick said in paragraph 2 and 3 is what Kane has been thinking.
Apple Danish. Seriously, well, he goes on to say, listen, he was asked, have they not been able to perform due to issues at the club? And this is where he contradicts himself. He says, I disagree. Yeah, I disagree. It's a much bigger picture. So I disagree. The issues at the club aren't what have affected our performances. But it's true, he says, we don't know who our next coach is, and we don't know who our director of football is. Aren't they issues in the club? Aren't those issues in the club?
Yeah, but just before he says, but it's true, he does say things are happening. So there's obviously something going on turmoil-wise. Obviously, with Conte going, Stellini coming in, Stellini going, Mason coming in.
But JP, that's the point. The question is, are the poor performances down to issues at the club? And he says, I disagree. Then he goes, but it's true. We don't know who the next coach is or director of football. And all these things create unrest.
How can that not affect your performances? How can that not affect?
He's contradicted himself. You can't start by saying, I disagree that issues in the club have affected us. Then he goes on to question what's going on in the club. I don't get it. Is it me? Is it me?
No, he is kind of contradicting himself, which is kind of his year this year. You know, playing with Bentancur, he was better since Betty has left. Hoiberg hasn't been good, almost to a point that we got to get rid over the summer.
I just see excuses, guys.
There's too many to get rid of, Murray.
Just excuses.
I know. Sorry, Ellie. I know Ellie's gonna be mad because I said that. But
well, he finishes off by saying all of that will come. So all these things, long-term planning and the performances will come when we get our next coach and our director of football. But until then, obviously, some players will point to it as an issue. Some players. So who's he talking about? Not my place to analyze this. But you just
although you've just been doing that for the last fucking 10 minutes, on your script. You see how stupid he is. Like this is just stupidity. That's what I'm saying to you. He's chatting shit.
Do you know what cracks me up with this? He says that all of this will come
by not saying something.
But he says all of this will come when we get our next coach and director of football. You had Mourinho and Hitchin. You had Nuno and Mason and Hitchin. You had Conte and Paratici. You are now going to get round 3 of this, round 4. So for you to say, Højbjerg, this will all come when we get the next coach, next director of football, you as a player have been through 3 coaches and 3 directors of football. Where were you then? This is the bit I don't get.
Yeah. So supposedly it's supposed to magically be fixed with a new director of football and a new coach And like Stel says, wait, we've had that the previous 3 rounds it didn't work. So what makes you think the 4th round, let's just say Nagelsmann, is it going to work?
Which is why, Maori, after 22 years, I've learned my lesson by now. Oiby is still in year 3, right? I'm in year 22. That's 25. He ain't changing shit. There's going to be no plan. There's going to be nothing. We'll go again.
I just listen. I haven't got time for waffle, man.
Purple and yellow.
That's all that
Purple
is,
and
man.
gold,
When
whatever it is.
someone's, I don't see any consistency to what he's just said there. It's very, it's you know, he's gone this way, then he's gone that way, then he's contradictory. The whole thing is contradictory, and I can't believe that all of that has come out of his mouth. He is in no position to be doing it. Why he's chosen to do it now, I agree. I've got no time for zero patience for awful. And when I feel like he's mugging me off, like for me, those words is someone that's just mugging me off, and I ain't got time. When I'll say it is, if I feel someone chatting shit, I will tell them, Jay, you're chatting shit. And what he's done there is just fed us a load of shit, stuff that we already knew about the club. He's confirmed what we already knew, and 2, he's trying to come out with excuses. It's all full of excuses. And this is what the manager that left, Conte, has said. Don't give these guys excuses to cover themselves with. And he's just given us a list.
What do you
of
make of this
excuses.
comment? What do you make of this comment? I'm surprised none of you, Mario, what do you make of this? I'm surprised none of you would not take this as a good thing.
It's not honesty, though. It's not honesty.
No. I would say this. Just to say, Iggy, what would have been better if Hoiberg or any of the players said, I would have had no problem if they said this. You know what? It's our fault. We got Conte fired. If they said something like that, then I'll be more receptive. I'm like, okay, you're being honest.
What do you mean? Accountability?
Accountability.
Nobody in this club takes accountability from the top to the bottom. Nobody.
We got Conte fired. Hoiberg, that's what Hoiberg should be saying. We got Conte fired. Kane should be saying, we failed the club. We failed the fans. Remember, Conte's statement said that these players failed the club, the fans. Which that's why I was so upset that fans were mad at Conte. Conte was defending the fans. Conte was defending the fans, and so Pierre Hoiberg and any other player on the team should say, you know what, we apologize because you know what, we were part of the reason that got Conte fired.
Some bloke is absolutely sums it up perfectly.
Anybody that's earned any right to say anything or speak on this is probably Kane, maybe Son, but outside of those two, man, nobody has earned the right to speak of the club in that way. He hasn't been there long enough. He certainly hasn't earned the right to be speaking outside of football matters. That is beyond his capability, and what he's given us is utter crap. That's the thing. He's given us utter crap. He's released a statement or whatever you want to call it, an interview, and he's gone absolutely everywhere, nowhere with that for me. And when I see someone chatting shit, it's got to be called upon, and that is what he's done. I can't get over it. I've read that 2 or 3 times. I'm thinking, just chatting shit. He's just giving me a load of shit. Why is he talking now anyway? Who is he to be talking to me now? He shouldn't be talking to me now. The only thing he's been doing is shutting his mouth and focusing on the 4 remaining games, and try and get us over the line in regards to Europa. Anything else, he's not qualified to be speaking to me about it. When I say me as us fans. He's not the guy. He's not that guy. Not that guy.
If Kane came out and said that,
yeah,
it would have more weight. It would have gravitas, would it?
I think you're right, Ron. Son was probably the only one that said it was his fault.
Yeah, he said it.
If Conte's gone, I feel like I'm to blame. You know, he's the only one actually accountability. We go back and say accountability.
Even Kane didn't really come out and say anything,
I've been
did he?
saying it, and a lot of us have been saying it. Accountability.
This is something about Mourinho.
Kane didn't really come out and say anything either, did he?
I think Kane was happy that he was gone in the end.
But he did say something about Mourinho. That's why I was scared that he was going to leave, and of course, you know, the whole Man City stuff. I was worried because he really had a close relationship with Jose Mourinho, and once he got fired, Kane did say, "Hey, we failed Jose. It was our fault." But yeah, he didn't say anything about Conte, but he did say something about Jose.
If you look at how many Instagram, Twitter, whatever social media players use, how many of them spoke after Conte left to say
None other than Son. Other than
Son?
Son.
Son?
Thanks, boss.
Nobody
Bye,
else.
boss.
So
It was a pleasure, boss. You've turned me into
yeah,
a
it's a
better
pleasure.
player, boss.
Usual.
Nothing.
Poor. And now,
Talking about Harry Kane, guys.
now everyone's found their voice.
I'm surprised Spence didn't say anything.
But now,
He's
now
not on the,
yes.
he's not on the player
you're
committee.
right, Dan.
He's not on the player
Richarlison did say something as well. I remember that now. But
Yeah.
other than listen, they've all found their voice now. After 6-1 and the 4-3 against, they've all found their voices now. So what have these guys done to even be speaking?
It's a victory. It's a victory.
Up, man.
We got a victory.
Just be quiet. Don't say nothing. If that's how I'll be saying. Don't say nothing, because right now anything that you're saying is going to be flipped and used against you, because you've just given us utter shit this year. And if the managers have come and gone, you've contributed to that. Facts.
One thing I do want to actually touch on, because you mentioned if Harry Kane spoke. Harry Kane, 209 goals for Spurs in 317 appearances. He's smashed Wayne Rooney out the park, and he's on course to basically outdo Alan Shearer. He could end up being the best
in less games.
Guys, I gotta say an apology. Not really an apology. I gotta fix a statement because it was confusion. I think I got into even one of the people in the chats. I think Americana was posting some stuff.
Did you say Eric Dyer was a good player, or
no? I was talking about Kane, and I was defending the box office, right? And I get it, because I say the question is cultural, because like I said, I always like to bring up the barbershop analogy, because Kane hasn't won a trophy. Some people hold him in different light, and like I said, it's like beauty is the eye of the beholder. Beauty is the eye of the beholder when people talk about legends and so on. But I will tell you this. I will say this, because I'm hearing that one Chelsea guy who's online and he gets everybody from different clubs together. He's kind of like a snob. I forget what's the guy's name. He really disrespected Kane.
Rory Jennings.
Yeah, that dude. Don't like that dude, Laurie Jennings.
Yeah, he's a chump.
Yeah, he's punk. He's a bitch. All right, so yeah. I will say this.
What's happened? I'm trying to be like civil. Murray's just like, nah, he's a bitch. Fucking bitches.
Him and some other people, right, and not discrediting Haaland. What Haaland has done is amazing. He is a machine. He's a robot. But I will say this: Harry Kane's season is actually more impressive than Haaland. And here's the reason why. And I thought about this yesterday. I actually thought about this yesterday. To score 26 goals with, 3 games left? With a chance to possibly, if he gets a brace, to score 30 goals on this team. And mind you, this year has not been Kane's best season. This year has not been Kane's best season. But to possibly score 30 goals, it's more impressive than what Haaland's doing at Man City. Can you imagine if Kane actually played on a really, really good team? How many goals he would have? I was thinking about that yesterday. I was trying to have a fair balance. You're thinking about Benzema and thinking about Haaland, and they're both good. But I'm like, what Kane is doing this year is more impressive because it's not
in a shit team.
He's on a shit team, and it's not one of his best years. I'll be honest, it's not one of his best years. He's going to score 30 Premier League goals. 30 Premier League goals if he scores a couple more goals the last 3 games. And I'm like, that's more impressive.
Rory Jennings is one of those people that's articulate. And because he's articulate, people just assume he's intelligent. So they listen to him and he gets a platform. But over time, when you go back and look at all the things he said and how much he gets wrong, you realize actually you're just articulate, and that's where it ends. He's one of those. There's loads of people like that. His football knowledge is good just on Chelsea. Stick to talking about Chelsea. When it comes to talking about other clubs and other players, man, it's up when box office says things like Haaland is a Scandinavian John Carew. It's like,
I mean, and Haaland
if
is younger,
Kane
but I'm
Kane was
just,
in that Man City team, Mari, he'd be smashing it, wouldn't he?
yeah, I'm just saying that
yeah.
Kane's season.
Haaland is good though. Let's have it right. Haaland is good.
Haaland is good. Don't get it twisted. Haaland is
He's
good.
ripping it up, man. He's ripping it up.
And
First
Benzema
season.
is
Come on,
good.
man.
And Benzema is good. But Harry Kane, what he's doing to score 26 goals on this team, if you put Haaland on Tottenham, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, for what Kane,
Maybe that's arguable. Yeah, but maybe I can agree with that. But people that say that Haaland's not good, come on, man. He's been breaking records left, right, and centre
since a kid, really, isn't he?
Come on, man.
And
He's been doing it for a while
he's just
now. And
progressed.
He's
He's progressed.
21,
and
22.
progressed
Think
and,
of how much better this guy can even become. You cannot compare the two until Haaland's 30 years old, like Kane is now, you know? Then you can start, or when the careers are both ended, then you can look back at it and say, right. But right now, they're on the two different journeys. One's in his peak of his career at the age of 30 years old, 29, 30, playing in a bang average team that Tottenham is right now. And then you've got Haaland, who's playing for the best team in the world, on course for winning the treble. They may even go on to win a treble. And he's smashed every record there is to smash at 21 years of age. It's incredible, man. Incredible.
Robin, you say that it's easier to score when there's no pressure to win something. Therefore, Haaland and Benzema are far ahead of Kane. What I'd say to you is that if you look at the top 6 teams, the Chelseas, the Arsenal, the Uniteds, this and that, Harry Kane most of the time turns up when others don't. Son and Kane have turned up in those big games. Harry Kane is the top scorer in North London derbies ever. That is the biggest game you have to win of the season for us. So I think you're wrong with what you're saying, but I do agree that Haaland and Benzema are expected to win trophies, but Harry Kane's never been at a club like that. I think where the argument really is going to be settled is in the summer. If Harry Kane commits to Spurs, I think that's going to actually do him harm in terms of how he's perceived by the neutrals. I think the neutral fans will look at Harry Kane and say, do you know what? You're not ambitious, man. You're happy to just sit here in your comfort zone earning your money. Whereas if Harry Kane says, look, I'm done, and he goes to Real Madrid, he goes to Man United, assuming Man United get Champions League, I think then he's saying, look, I am ambitious and this isn't for me anymore. So I think this summer will tell us a lot about Kane. But to say Kane isn't under pressure to score, I don't know about that. I don't know. To win, sorry.
Yeah. The only thing I would say still is though, and which is where I probably see a little bit of difference, is that, you know, like your Benzema's and, well, kind of like Benzema as a player, like as a typical example, in a final, he pulls it out the bag. If his team's down, he scores the 2 goals, 3 goals that's needed for his team to go through. He did it in the Champions League how many times, kind of like last season? He literally won it for them last season, right? So when it really, really matters in your semi-finals and finals, Benzema's there. Whereas I think that's the only thing that maybe Kane hasn't just done for us.
He has had that magic moment at those times, and that's where, depending on what culture that you're around with, like, you know, here in Florida, I'm surrounded by Real Madrid, Barcelona fans, my students, you know, they like that, and they were like, oh, where was they know Harry Kane is great, but they're like, where's that magic moment? And problem is, we don't have those opportunities, and the very few that we have, you know, nothing has happened, you know. Whereas those guys, they get 5 or 6 chances a year. I mean, Real Madrid, you know, Club World Cup, Super Cup, this cup, that cup, you know, it's just,
it's like every other week's a final or something, isn't it? But and that's where I think Tottenham have failed him. Like, we've had Kane in his prime, up to his prime as he is now, and we've just totally fucked it up around him. Absolutely fucked it up around him. And Son and Sonny. We've had like they're the most goals and assists in the Premier League history, and we totally fucked it up with the supporting cast.
We've never built a team around Harry Kane. We've never done it. We were on the right path with Poch, but then we just stopped. We stopped at the last hurdle, and then we've been paying the price ever since. So,
All 4-3 Forest Southampton.
4-3. That is an unbelievable game going on there. By the way, I just want people watching
recently.
this.
There's been a hell of a lot of goals recently, isn't there? Like this weekend.
It's been
Sorry,
fire. I just want people. No, I was going to say, I just want people in the comments like Boo, no, I know you're a troll. Stel dreams of Hollywood. He likes his voice too much. I just want you to know that I put your comments up on the screen, even if you're giving me shit or anyone else his shit. I just want you to remember how we actually give your voice some attention, whereas others would just block you and say, get out of here. So just show a little bit of respect if you've got it in you. I know some of you don't. Most of you do. By the way, this was funny. If you never saw it on the weekend, JP blowing up Levy out balloons in the stadium. This was too funny,
Man of the
Yeah, that was.
He did it live on the watch log. He jumped on and we were like
You haven't got any phone calls from Daniel Levy, right? Or anybody at Tottenham.
Yeah.
They got spies, you know. They got spies.
Next game, I'm going to go in disguise.
What did you make of the actual? I know we've gone off on a tangent, but I did want to look at the stats of the game. Possession was not bad, 57%. We had 8 shots, 3 on target. We only scored 1, so a 33% success rate. Our passing numbers were much better, 411. Normally it's around about 300 odd. Passing accuracy was slightly up as well. The stats, if stats are going to be a measure of what happened on the day, they were actually better than normal, considering the game wasn't really enjoyable to watch. Do you think Mason's getting the team playing better football, guys? Do you think Ryan Mason's actually getting a slightly better play out of them? We did score 3 goals at Anfield, and we did make a 2-0 comeback against Man United to draw 2-2.
I mean, half of it annoys me, to be honest. It's like they didn't want to do it for previous managers, but their mate Ryan, they'll do it for, they'll add that extra little bit of 10%, 15%, whatever it is, just to do it. And kind of, to be honest, that pisses me off and annoys me. He probably is getting something. What I would say is, obviously, we know Conte, we know what Conte's style was, right? He wanted to play in that style, didn't have the players for that style. And I think what Mason's trying to do is cajole them into playing different to their strengths in a way, as opposed to saying, you guys have to play to this system. So I think he's probably getting a little bit more out of them by just being a bit more flexible. And what do you think?
Yeah, go on, Murray. What do you think?
I'll just say that people, our fan base is very, I don't know if fickle is the word. It's because this victory, this past victory, is a typical Conte victory this year that everybody complained about. But at one time we were third. Actually, at one time we were actually third, and people complained, right? And so now Mason's doing it, and I'm just like, okay, now you're say, oh right, he's won by own, he's having us win 1-0, right? But a couple weeks ago, you were like, this is boring football. That's why I posted a question on Twitter. Would you rather have humiliation football or boring football? Because Conte, okay, all right, it was boring, but at least we were getting results. Still in the top 4, we were getting results. So now that Mason is kind of getting that victory, because I thought the game was boring. We won, but it was like, okay, it was no different from what Conte has done, and in the games that we have leaked goals, 3-0, 3-0. Okay, we came back, but with Conte, we would never leak goals the way that we leaked goals, during those games. So I don't know. I'm on. Man,
But then that's because he knew Maui, right? He knew that. Do you know what? Those defenders are not up to it really. So therefore, I have to be uber defensive just to make sure we don't get trounced. And in
Yeah.
the first couple of games after him, like peer pressure or whatever it was, fan pressure, whatever. Oh yeah, let's go with a 4 then. Bang, spanked.
Yep.
Go up to Liverpool. Oh, let's try something else. Bang. Let's be a bit more on the front foot. Another 3 goals in the first 20 minutes.
JP, this is why I said earlier on. Do you think Ryan Mason's been a bit lucky? Because if you were going to play a back four, for me, the only two that can play as a left or a right back are Ben Davies and
Emerson
Royale, and he's got them back. He's now got them
No,
back.
I know, but Conte had those players and he didn't play a back four.
But we were fourth. We were in the top 4.
No, yeah. I 100% get that. But what I'm saying is, Conte
The argument
didn't
with
use
Conte
that.
was the style of play. But the thing is, if he's got us in the top 4 and he's keeping us there, why should he? You know, this is the argument. Don't forget when he got sacked, we were 4th.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, guys, is he? Look, both games against Man United and Liverpool were lost. We was 2-0 down against United, so we had to come out second half and make
just go
an
for
attempt to try and go for it. So you know, in that front, the pressure might have been off because you could have looked at it and gone, you know, we could have gone 3, maybe 4-0 down. So, but the game was lost at that point, so we may as well go for it. Liverpool, we went 3-0 down after 15 minutes. So if you look at both games, we didn't really get out on the pitch. So you can look at it as how well was that game prepared, and why did we go? You know, go 3-0 down in 15 short minutes, less than 15 minutes. So even at Liverpool, that game was lost. So we could look at it and say those games we was down and out. So we just went for it in the hope that we can try and crawl it back, which we did in United's case. We did it against Man United, against Liverpool, only to screw it up right at the end. And then obviously Crystal Palace game was a little bit different. Good evening, by the way. So I don't know. I'm on the fence still.
That's fair.
For me, this weekend's going to be the
big up,
one.
man.
For me, this weekend's going to be the one. We're going to really find out what it's all about against Aston Villa. That's what I want to
Big up Wolves F1
Big up
for the
Wolves.
super chat. Thank you very much, my man or woman, whatever you may be. Here's a question for you guys. By the way, guys, we're going to go for another 15 minutes. So if you've got any questions, put them in, and we'll try and answer some questions of yours. But little quiz here for you guys. What's this?
The first open top bus parade we had at Tottenham.
Yeah.
Close, but none of those buses are open top. What's this?
That's definitely Tottenham High Road.
Tottenham High Road.
It's definitely Tottenham High Road, 100%.
That's
where the chicken is.
That's outside
opposite the stadium, isn't it?
Stadium in 1950s, and all those trolley buses. That's what they were called, trolley buses. They're picking up all the supporters and taking them home.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
See,
one more.
And that's where Levy got his idea. Look, if I can open a bar and they can all stay in the bar rather than queuing up, I'm laughing.
What's this?
61
No.
South. That's the South Stand, isn't it?
No.
Shelf side, mate.
That's the shelf side in the 1970s, man. Proper shelf side.
You can tell that was a shelf. Yeah, I can tell the shelf side.
For anyone that doesn't know,
I don't know how I can tell. Don't get me wrong.
Those,
it's not like I know.
I remember those fences at the front. You know, see those fences at the front that came up and then went up. It's so that you couldn't climb over.
The shelf. Yeah, they all know. Shelf
mate, you could be celebrating a goal and you could be at the top of the stairs.
Oi.
Mate,
and you could be down the bottom of the stairs by the end of it.
I would get crushed, Iggy, as a kid, because like I used to go down there at half time and they'd let kids in, right? So you'd go in and then because you were a kid, you could squeeze your way to the front to actually watch the game. But once Spurs scored, everyone just went. "Rah!" You got
Yeah.
For
Foster-
people,
Foster at the
bottom.
front, man.
for people that don't know, that middle kind of looking tier, that was the shelf side in the East Stand. That was known as the place where all the noise, all the atmosphere, that's where the hardcore Spurs fans used to sit, shelf side. And then over the years, obviously, shelf side got taken away and now we've got a new stadium. But for anyone that knows shelf side Spurs, do you know,
Still,
that's my first ever game is where I was in the shelf side with my uncle. I'll never forget it. Nuts. Loved it. Loved it.
talking of noise, did you hear what Ramon Vega had to say recently?
Hey, he's always moaning about the board and cussing them, isn't he? He loves it.
No, he was
He's like
actually,
us.
he was actually,
He's
he
one
was
of us.
actually at the lane. He was actually at the lane on against Palace. Let me
Yeah,
bring
yeah,
it
yeah.
up. Let me get it so I can quote him. I thought you might have known that, but let me. I'll tell you just a sec what he.
All right, Iggy, you do that, and then we'll start doing some questions because we've got a couple coming in here.
Yeah. All right, let's have a look.
The ultras, old school.
He
Correct.
basically said that it doesn't. Alongside, if I can bring it up, if I can find it first and foremost.
If you put a link in the private
He
chat,
goes, it was great to visit my ex-club, Spurs official, but I still prefer the old stadium, White Hart Lane. Much better atmosphere. It felt cold and disconnected. That's what he said. In the merit of the new stadium.
Luca. Shelf side.
he's-
ultras.
Cold and disconnected.
Yeah, but you see, I think that's linked to performances and results, right? At the moment, there's nothing to play for. Like our season ended a month ago, so fans are turning up. One, because they've already paid the tickets. Two, because it's a day out, and three, loyalty, right? So it's just a case of, I mean, I've stopped going because I gave up. I literally gave up on it. And it's protest for me as well. But I think if we were in a title race, or if we were
Compared to the
progressing in
Arsenal
Europe,
game last season and stuff like
yeah,
that.
look
you
at the
know,
difference.
Guys,
Or
even
have first Champions
of the
League night.
matter, the truth of the matter is this, is that the old White Hart Lane had history there. It had a winning history there. It had seen trophies. This fucking stadium that we have now has seen shit. It hasn't
Iggy,
seen any
Iggy, hold
trophy.
on.
It hasn't seen anything that you can say it's a memory. What memories do you have from that? That win against Man City in the Champions
Iggy,
League
1 minute,
is probably
man.
the highlight, and that North London derby last season. That is it.
But the
When-
atmosphere.
when
what-
we-
yeah, sorry,
When
go
we
on.
played Man
Nada.
City in the Champions League and we beat them 1-0 in the first leg, that the atmosphere in the stadium was rocking. When
That's
Hugo Lloris, this is my point. It's got nothing to do with trophies. It's
Yeah,
whether there's something to
absolutely,
fight for. It's something to fight for. When Lloris saved Aguero's penalty, I swear to God, I thought the roof was going to come crashing down. The roar was insane. When Son scored, the place just blew up. And then after the game, in the concourses, thousands of us just jumping on each other. Oh, what a night. Watching Tottenham. Listen, the atmosphere was amazing because we had something to play for. Like JP said, when we were the race for top 4 last season, when Arsenal came to our ground, because that game meant something, who's going to get top 4, the atmosphere is the best I've ever experienced at that stage. It was there's nothing more we could have got out of it.
New memories in that stadium still. New
The
memories.
team that's down
With
to the team.
with the team,
That's
right?
down to the team. The team has to do it.
What's
The
interesting?
fans are turning up. The fans are there. The fans are ready. But when you're watching you scrape a 1-0 against the team that's 12th in the league, it's like,
Yeah,
what am I cheering?
Be it White Hart Lane, I think it would have been the same.
What's so interesting is that we won that game against City 1-0 at home. We lost to Ajax at home, and the biggest moment was on the road. You know, today being the Lucas Moura game. You know, him scoring the hat trick. It's funny because, like I said,
Yeah, that was today. 4 years ago.
Yeah. How many big moments we've had in the new stadium, Man City and Arsenal, because the Ajax game, we lost 1-0. So I mean, in the beginning it was electric, but we left that built the stadium, with a loss. And then, of course, 4 years ago today was the famous Lucas Moura game. Which, if it wasn't for that game, honestly, well, it is Spurs. I mean, Moura is long overdue to be gone from this club. Long overdue.
I saw him at the weekend.
Who? De La Spurs?
Lucas
Moura.
Big up De La Spurs, by the way.
There you
Listen,
go,
we've got a
Corey,
couple.
That's a good message, man. A lot of people felt like that, man.
There you go, isn't it?
Who's that?
Oh, quiz.
You should have punched him in the face for costing us the game at Anfield. I'd have been, Lucas, you're right. Poof.
I gave him a balloon to sign.
Listen, Luke.
If Lucas blew up a balloon, that would have been the best. That would have been the best.
I don't leave you when you do this, but would
You'd
you
get him
guys
sacked. JP, you'd get him sacked.
the tent inside of the stadium? Don't leave you would never do this. There'll be a mural, a picture, a mural of that moment of Moore's hands up in the air when he scores that hat trick, or because it's a semifinals, there shouldn't be a mural or picture inside the stadium of that moment.
Are you talking about the Ajax away?
Yeah, the game-winning goal. Should there be in the future a mural of that?
Murray.
We won nothing.
Jimmy Greaves hasn't got shit. Bill
I know
Nick
we won
hasn't got
nothing.
shit.
We won
What
nothing.
has
We won
Lucas got?
nothing.
What
True.
chances Lucas
I
have?
agree. We won nothing.
The thing
But
is,
I know that's
we
what
don't
Spurs fans cling on to. Spurs fans cling on to that.
We don't even honour Bill Nick and Jimmy Greaves.
Yeah,
Who are you gonna honour? Who are you gonna honour? Kane? You expect Kane to have a statue?
Ramon Vega. Statue
Yeah.
of Ramon Vega.
I didn't believe Levy said that. Although you don't have
Paul Gascoigne in 1991. Nothing.
Jimmy
And plus,
Greaves.
these are all things we had in our old stadium. We didn't even have it in our old stadium. I don't think we even have it in our old stadium. I can't remember now, but like I said,
Listen,
yeah.
let's move on to the questions because otherwise, we're just going to end
Sure.
up going into the whole nostalgia of. It's just depressing, man. It's depressing. I'm depressed as enough supporting Spurs, but Alan simply says, with Southampton almost certainly getting relegated, should we make a move for James Ward-Prowse?
I'd welcome any quality players, and he falls into that category. For me, yeah, sure. Why would I not have JWP in our squad? Free kicks, penalties. He's a good midfielder. Above all the
He
set
ain't getting
pieces, he's
penalties.
actually a good player as well. So I would welcome him.
I think
would.
last year I saw him obviously at Spurs. He came and he ran the show.
Bossed
He
it,
was
man.
He was quality in midfield.
Absolutely
To
bossed
be honest, why he's not done so well this season or whatever, I don't know, and I don't know where Southampton are and stuff. But from a person who could probably, he's fantastic at dead balls. He could give us some decent corners, some decent free kicks, and he's got a shot on him from outside the box. Right?
Yeah.
I'd have
We
him
really
over
have a
Helvig.
shot. We really have a shot from outside the box these days. Porro's just started doing that for us.
Yeah.
I'd have him over Højbjerg. Even more so after those statements.
Yeah, I would take him. I at first I'm like, no, I wouldn't want him, but you convinced me. He does the things that we currently don't have.
He gives exactly. He'll give us something that we don't have at the moment.
He's the captain as well, by the way. He's a captain at Southampton, so he's obviously got leadership qualities.
Yeah, we need leadership qualities, big time.
What you all thought of idea? Hold on, this is a bit broken up. What do you think of the idea to hire an advisor so the chairman will keep high standards?
That's the director of football, isn't it?
Isn't that what Scott Munn is doing? I don't know.
Well,
I don't know. Elaborate a little bit more on the
I think
more on the finance side, isn't it?
I think if you run a business, no matter what it is, if you need to employ someone for you to keep high standards, there's a problem. you should have high standards yourself, surely.
Of course.
Employing someone to do the accounts, someone to advise you on legal stuff because they're a legal expert, I get it. But for someone to keep you having high standards, surely your high standards are in how you are as a person, no? Unless I missed something here.
I know, that's why I said elaborate on your question so we can answer it a little bit better, because at the moment I'm not sure what what it is that he's trying to
I
get
think
at.
I think
Or
maybe
she, I don't know.
he's. I think maybe they're trying to say that. I don't know, but do we want someone? Do we want Levy to obviously step away and have someone to just advise him on?
Hire advisor so Sherman
And-
can keep his eyes. So he's got to hire someone else to make sure that his standards are kept high. I'm not sure about that one. I must admit, unless I've interpreted it wrong.
Mari, here's one for you because you are the Tavistock expert. And if you don't know who Tavistock are, Joe Lewis, the owner of Enoch, owns them. Do you think Levy will sell Tottenham for 10 billion?
You know, I'll be honest. I would think it would be tempting, but he would say no. I believe Lewis may sell it for 10 billion. I think Levy, it's scary. He is such a narcissist, and he feels that Spurs is his baby, and he's gonna win with him being involved. I don't think he's gonna give Spurs up, even if it was for maybe 15 billion. I'm not gonna say an automatic yes for 10 billion. I just think his ego is so big. He's such a narcissist. I mean, it would have to be Lewis. I think Lewis would like, oh man, I made my profit, boom, boom, I'm cashing in.
Mari, I think they sell for 10 billion. I think that's insane money.
It's a lot of money, man.
But does the
That's
10 billion
money.
does the 10 billion include the stadium?
It has
That's
to. You can't spend 10 billion and
And not
could you imagine?
get the stadium
10 billion.
rented. Rent the stadium.
That's
Maybe
Levy's plan, man.
as
That's Levy's plan.
The evil, villain. Like, I just feel that he wants us to suffer, like forever. Like, oh, his 10 billion.
It's just
No,
squeezing, isn't it? Just squeezing. Just
And if he sells it reluctantly, be like, yes.
There's more money coming out of it. There's more
Mate,
money
Listen,
coming out of it.
these motherfuckers would sell for 10 billion and look to buy it back for 8 billion.
Man, because there's a comment that Levy says, "Oh, if they end up selling, he still wants to be involved with Spurs." And I'm just like,
God, please stop.
Get
Go away.
out of our club. Get out. Get
leave.
out. Get out.
Get out. Get out. Do we really need more midfielders if they're not creative mids? It's a good question, actually.
Listen, I can't get Maddison.
I would say if we were to get in James Ward-Prowse, then it would be a replacement, I would say, or a backup. Oh, not a backup. I think that drops Højbjerg and Skip kind of into the squad.
But we've got Bissouma, we've got Bentancur, and we've got Pape Sarr, haven't we? So
I mean, it depends on who comes in as a manager and what philosophy that we come up with. I want some midfielder who can press, and I mean, James Ward-Prowse. I want our midfielders creating havoc. I mean,
okay, Mari, answer this one then. Answer this one: James Ward-Prowse or Maddison?
Oh, this is easy. Maddison.
Yeah, I'm Maddison too. JP, Iggy?
Maddison, easily.
Why the two playing two different positions, though? No.
Yeah, but if you had to pick one.
No, if I have to pick one, I have to pick Maddison. Because we're really desperate that creative player in that area
creative
required.
goal scoring midfielder.
Instead in JWP, we have got Bentancur, we have got Bissouma. But if we want to up the quality, why not have both? Why not have both? Up the quality in that midfield with that creativity. And they both have it in abundance in different positions, but they both have it in abundance. And if you add Bissouma and if you add Bentancur and that, you just seriously up the quality on both players. So we will never get McAllister, by the way, Glenn. Just reading your comment now. I don't think Brighton will get rid of their main man there. But McAllister's another quality player.
And
Would
yes,
you have Cole? Would you
yes.
have Cole Walker-Peters back?
No, I'm just kidding.
To do what?
What'd you say, Mark?
I said, yes, I am stoned. And I said, just kidding.
Mm.
No, the 10 million is a lot of money. I'm just saying that Daniel Levy is such a narcissist that, I don't know.
He wants more.
He wants more. He wants 25 million.
I think 10 billion makes us the most expensive club in world football. They're selling.
Mate,
They're
I've
selling
never
at
known a
10
club
billion.
to be sold for 10 billion, man.
They're selling for me.
Not even half.
But there's no other club out there right now that's got the full stadium built, the training ground built, the hotels coming soon, rights being agreed.
And Beyonce,
Everything's
Beyonce.
there.
Got Beyonce.
Revenue streams, American football pitch underneath it. All of
By
that
the way,
stuff.
what would we be
There's no
having
other package.
What would we be having KWP for? To do what?
What, to play right wing back?
Right, win back.
Yeah, I think with Porro now, the answer is probably no. Right?
I'm
Porro's,
good with Porro.
and we've
man.
got Spence on the books, maybe coming back.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Question: who do you realistically think will come to Spurs manager-wise? And I think that also ties in with this question here: who would be your choice of manager to take over? So let's do both. First of all, who would you like to see come, and who do you think will come? Right, JP, you go first.
I would want the bald beauty of Arnie Slot.
Who do you think will get?
Brendan Rodgers.
Fuck my life. If we get Brendan Rodgers, man, I'm not doing YouTube
Nah,
anymore. I'm not doing YouTube anymore. I swear to God, I won't do it.
I think we'll go through the whole process of Nagelsmann and getting him in and wanting to do this, and it will drag on until the season ticket renewal date's finished. After that, it will be. We've already heard murmurings about he wants to know what his power will be, how much money he's going to get. He wants to know this. He wants to know how much say he'll have in the players and stuff, and that will be the stumbling block, which we don't get him. Other managers are obviously there's that Arnie Slot there. He's probably someone in that kind of Poch mold, right? Who can come in and do work wonders. But again, he's going to need time. He's going to need players, and he's going to need money. Now we have to give the next manager comes in as Spurs fans. I think we just have to give him patience, right? Brendan Rodgers, you could say it could be another quick fix because he'll come in, he'll try and play football. Everyone will be happy. We're playing a nice football style or whatever. A year's time, 18 months, 2 years' time, it will all go to shit again. And then it will just be recycle. I don't want him. I think more than likely we'll end up with him. I really hope I'm wrong, to be honest.
Before we come to Iggy, guys, we're about 40 likes away from 150. Please try and help us get to 150 before the show ends shortly.
Come on, all he is now. Just go and hit the like.
Touch the like. Just do it. Iggy, who do you want as manager, and who do you think we'll get?
Well, out of all the managers that are out there, I would say probably that's available to come. I would say Nagelsmann is probably undoubtedly the best choice of the lot. I know you guys are saying. I know you, Stel and JP, like Arne Slot. I don't know too much about him. I'll be honest with you. I know that he's played good football this year with his team and stuff like that, and maybe he could be the right fit, but I don't know enough about him. So I say out of the ones that are available, probably Nagelsmann is the best choice out there. Who I would like, and De Zerbi I wouldn't mind for the football I've seen Brighton play. Whether we had the players to play that similar sort of football that Brighton do, I don't know. But
You've got to pick one that you want and one you think
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
going to
yeah.
get.
I'm just giving you my thought process, if you don't
You're
mind.
covering all the bases, and when I do
I'm
it,
not
I get
covering. I'm
pulled
telling
out.
you this.
When
I'll
I
tell
do
you
this, oh yeah,
two
you're gonna.
names.
Oh, so you predicted we're gonna win,
Two
draw,
names.
and lose.
I said
Nice.
2 names that I would like. All I said is 2 names that I would like. Nagelsmann and De Zerbi. What's wrong with that? And I gave you my
One.
reasons for it.
Pick one.
Okay, I'm going to say De Zerbi in that case because I've actually seen him do it in the Premiership. Nagelsmann, I haven't seen him do shit in the
He
Premier
just
League.
got battered by Sean Dyche.
Come on, man. It's just like, yeah, but context, the whole season. Look where
No,
Brighton
De
are.
Zerbi's been great. De Zerbi's been great. Yeah,
Brighton
he's been
are
brilliant.
on the verge of making Europe.
Yeah, it's
Facts,
true.
man. That's how we look at it. Yeah, you know, Emery might be, but look, let's stop there with those names. Who I'll see, I have to agree with JP. I think Brendan Rodgers, man.
Don't, please.
I think Brendan Rodgers, 2 seasons.
Cheap option.
I don't think we're that insightful. I don't think we don't look too far ahead. I think 1 or 2 seasons at a time, and I think Brendan Rodgers will be that guy that will come in and make an immediate impact. And then after 2 seasons, we fuck him off, start all over again. Ancelotti would be the dream. My God, someone's mentioned
rinse and
Ancelotti.
repeat.
He would be the dream, but he would never come to Tottenham.
Why are
Never.
we going to get?
We wouldn't go
had
for we wouldn't
Conte, we've
go
had
for another
Mourinho,
goat type manager.
Like
Ancelotti would be the
we
goat.
won't
Signing
get another.
Ancelotti would be the equivalent of signing Leo Messi, man. That's how highly I rate that guy. But he won't.
What, better than Conte?
Ancelotti is far, far, far superior.
Ancelotti's the goat, man.
Best there ever is.
Murray, who do you
Find me
want
another manager that's better than him. That's won everything in the game as a player and as a manager.
in multiple
There's no one.
countries as well?
Yeah.
Who do you want, and who do you think we'll get?
You know, it would be easiest in Nagelsmann, but you know what? I'm going to remove my hate for River Plate, especially because of the bad refereeing yesterday. Bogus.
Jeez,
penalty
what
goal.
a game.
Yeah, fighting and everything. And you know what? I'm going to go with a wild card because I think he will fuck shit up in the Premier League and bring something different. I'm gonna say Marcelo Gallardo. I will say I will suck it up and go after Gallardo, who I think we're gonna end up with.
No.
Gattuso? Nah, I'm just kidding. Brendan Rodgers. Brendan Rodgers. I am more
Start looking for a replacement. I'm not doing this no more.
He's got to go with someone that's done it in the Premier League because he's on thin ice, Levy. And if he doesn't get someone who's got some Premier League experience, he'll be in the mud. He can't go with like some Gallardo, and I just don't think he's going to go with someone who's not who's done something in the Premier League. I just can't see it. It's too much of a risk. Too much of a risk. That's why I reckon it'll be Rodgers.
I think that do you know what? I've wanted Arne Slot a lot.
Rhymes as well.
Arne Slot a lot. Arne Slot a lot. Oh me. But I think if we were to hire Nagelsmann and just listen to him with the right football director, I think we could actually be onto something good. So I'm going to say Nagelsmann. However, who do I think we're going to get? Listen, man.
Pochettino.
No.
Why isn't that signed already?
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's weird.
He's coming back to the lane, isn't he? He's
Pulling it out.
You know,
He's pulling it out of the bag, isn't he? I'll he's going to pull the rabbit out of the hole, isn't he?
This is what I'm saying. The next manager has to be the one. Because right now,
I heard this about Conte. I heard this about Mourinho. It's got to be the one. Our fans will buy whatever shit they're given.
I've been burnt.
Our fans will take whatever shit they're served up.
But do you not believe that with Pochettino, he would get to breathe a little bit more oxygen for a little bit longer? At least that.
From the fans, 100%.
Yeah. Come on, man.
Yeah.
He will.
Yeah.
He'll get to breathe.
I mean,
that's the kind of signing that he will make.
It's another 18,
He won't go and get you
18
Slot.
months. It's
You
another
won't
18
get you
months that he'll
slotted
get a free.
Nagelsmann because he doesn't
But
have the
Poch-
vision for it.
But they haven't spoken to him. I think
Unless it's all hush hush.
I think you never know. Crazy things have happened. I want Nagelsmann, but I think we're going to end up. I don't know if it's going to be this guy, but something like this guy. I'm going to say I think it might be Xavi Alonso. I think we might do something like that.
No,
I do.
Another unproven guy. Another unproven. Listen,
I
these
think
guys may
he's-
all end up being top
I think we're going to get Xavi
managers.
Alonso.
That's all Hutu.
That's what go for company.
I think
Might
these
as well,
guys
might
will
as well
be
get Frank
top
Lampard.
managers.
No, company's just signing a new contract with Burnley.
Yeah, he's staying.
Yeah,
He's staying.
yeah, but that could be a get out payment, isn't it?
But these guys could all be quality managers. I just don't think he's going to take a chance on someone that's never managed in the Premier League before because of the situation that he finds himself in front of the fans or in front of the whole media fans. The next one has to be a certainty. It's going to be on percentages. Right now, the only one that holds the most percentage is Pochettino. He's the only one that can hold. But I'm not. Listen, I know it's bullshit. Don't get me wrong. Don't think I'm stupid. I understand what you're saying, but he needs to get out of the mud in regards to the fan. He needs to breathe a little bit, and Pochettino is the only one that can get him out of it. I don't think Rodgers is that one. I don't think any of the other one.
So why didn't you say Poch when I gave you two options?
It's what I want and what I think. But I know if I was Daniel Levy and I'm in his situation right now, I'd go and hire Poch. If I'm in Daniel Levy's shoes, I can't hire Poch. He's the only one out of all those managers that we mentioned.
He 100% should sign Poch, but he hasn't, and he's had a chance to do it.
I agree.
Replace 5 current players and replace them with who? All right, let's just go around and do one each. We'll do 4. Do one each. Mari, you go first this time.
Where do we begin, man?
Back.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to start with the back. Yeah. I would take out Dyer and put him with. I get to pick. Bastoni is not gonna happen anymore. We need someone quick, athletic, who's a beast. I would still say because I'm gonna say reasonable, and Ndika or no. What's the guy's name?
I just want to say
from Milan,
Tamori.
Oh, Iggy, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Why was the Brighton keeper dropped tonight? By the way,
Tamori.
Sanchez was on the bench and played. They played still.
They're not doing that again.
Why did they? I don't know. But do you know what? You mentioned Dyer. I'm going to go with the keeper because it's probably been one of my. It's been a ball ache for me. Not having a keeper in for a while. And I'm going to be level with you, man. I've been going on about Lloris replacement for a long while here in Tottenham away. And whilst I say start from the back, I say start, number one spot. We need to get a new keeper that will take us in a new era, new generation of goalkeepers. Lloris is part of the old regime, and he needs to go. And we need to replace him with either Sanchez from Brighton or the Brentford goalkeeper Raya. I wouldn't have, and also my number, those are 3 goalkeepers: the Brentford one, the Brighton one, and the Wolves one. Sorry, Wolves one.
I was going to say the Wolves. The Wolves guy.
We got to move on, and I would say the goalkeeper and Dyer would have. I agree with you, Mari. Dyer needs to be replaced, but I'm going to go with the keeper.
Either Tomori or Ndika.
Yeah. Sa will probably be my number 1 choice. Whether we get him or not will be something else. So
I was gonna say Dyer and the ball boy, but you beat me to it. Just bring in Madison and take your pick from midfield. But I suppose Højbjerg, because we need.
Get rid of Dan Juma.
Would you skip and Sa?
We need some creative. Well, the thing is, they're young and like they've we've got to give them their kind of
That was
like
just our
growing
big club
time,
this
right?
season.
And
Yeah, this season.
so I would go Maddison.
Madison. I would get rid of the left wing back. Any one of them. I don't care. Perisic, Sesh, get rid of both of them if you want. And I'd bring in
Udoji's
Marcus
coming in.
Acuna. Marcus Acuna from Seville.
Acuna, yeah. He has a good partnership with Romero and stuff. Yeah, Acuna would be good.
I'm bringing Acuna.
Yeah.
So that's
Di Lorenzo. He did okay for
He's the
that.
right wing back, though, isn't he?
Yeah. But he's right. Yeah, he's right.
So we're saying Acuna, Maddison, Sarr, and
tomorrow.
who did you say? Tomori.
Tomori.
That would be some serious mark. That'd be unbelievable. That would be unbelievable.
But there's a hell
and
of a
what
lot of players we've got replacing that bloody team, Iggy.
Huge.
There's so
We've
many,
got a hell of a lot of players coming back as well.
That's the other big
Winks,
thing.
Lo
And I don't know.
Celso, Ryan
I
Hill,
don't know.
Dombele!
What have you guys
Endon
heard
Bad
about
Boy.
writing
Scudetto
off
champion.
Ndombele's? Isn't it?
Joe
Yeah.
Have you
Rodon.
heard,
Champion.
Him and
have you
Delaney.
heard this about
Serie
writing
A
off
winner.
Ndombele's contract?
He's gonna bring the
Brrrah.
winning mentality
Brrrah.
to Spurs. He goes, "This is a trophy." He's gonna bring us a Scudetto. He's gonna go, "Yo."
The cheers for
Levy,
Kenge was
Levy, look what I've
hilarious.
got for you. Look what I've got for you, Daniel. This is what I've got for you,
Bloody
Daniel.
hell,
No,
man.
like seriously though, have you heard about
Shit.
have you heard about
Shit.
tearing up his contract?
Who's
Iggy,
this?
What's that?
tearing up Ndombele's contract.
They can't.
You don't
There's
got-
like talk
You
about-
guys know
there's-
what I think
can't
of him
do that.
anyway, man.
They
No,
can't
I
do
mean
that.
there's
Change
talk
my
about
mind.
it.
Udogi
I
got
can't
dinged
see it happening, but
He
They
was
can't.
on the bench because he got dinged. He got injured against Napoli. Because I was watching the game because
He's been a bit part player. Every time he started, he's come off on the hour. Bang on the hour has come off. He's only
He's
made a
youngster,
few
isn't he?
starts, and he's been 60 minutes. Yeah, listen, we're gonna get Udoji.
but he's another youngster though, isn't he? So it's
But maybe
And
with the
I
right
fear-
in the right hands, Spence and Udoji might
might be
hit
good.
the ground
Yeah.
running. You never know,
I
man.
just fear, Iggy, that everyone's suddenly putting Udogi on this high pedestal, and he's going to be the
In
savior
the right
to
hands,
come
I'm
in and
saying.
take that position. No, I'm
the
not
right
saying
hand.
you. I understand what you're saying, but I think the whole mood or the whole when you
No,
ever speak
he's
to
not. He's
anyone
not
outside,
Paolo Maldini or
it's
anything like that. He's not.
don't worry, we got Udogi coming next year. We got Udogi coming
He's a
next year.
kid.
and
He's a kid.
I just think it's
You got a partner in him. You got to use Udoji and alongside somebody, perhaps of Acuna, someone that knows the role really well, and he can learn from that. You cannot put all that experience on a kid.
Will Madison only become available if Leicester go down?
No,
I think if we chuck money, which we don't do, but if you gave them a reasonable offer, I think he probably wants a fresh challenge.
Hard on him. I think Newcastle are going to go in hard on him, and
They tried in January, didn't they?
I think they'll come back. And they refused. Was it 70 million, 75 back then? I bet Leicester thinking now they should have accepted it.
Yeah, they should have something.
It'll be less.
Why
if
do
you
you
go
guys think Company decided to extend his contract? Do you think he would have been a decent choice for Spurs? I said at the time he'll be an idiot to come to Spurs because he now needs to take what he's done and do it at a higher level in the Premier League. Learn your trade
at that level.
This is the
I
mistake.
think he's done the right thing for him. Yeah,
This is a mistake managers make. They're scared of staying at that lower, smaller club, and they just want to go for the big shiny light, and it doesn't always work out like that. So I think I think he's playing it really smart. He's probably picked up the phone to Yaya Toure and said, "What's it like there at Spurs?" And Yaya said, "No,
Don't come,
Company,
bruv.
no."
Don't come, bruv. Stay away,
no,
bruv.
I think it's the best option for him to stay where he is and master his craft in that environment until he's ready to say, you know what, I'm ready now to take this shit that comes with being at a big club.
I actually think who would be good for our club, especially in the locker room, would be Xabi Alonso. I just think that he's going to fail because, he's going to want things that Levy is not going to provide. Actually, that's any manager. But
Mason in.
No, but those type of managers, Murray, who's that other Spanish guy who was in charge of? Oh, fucking hell. who's that other manager that we've been linked with? Luis
Enrique.
Oh, Enrique.
Yeah, him. They want to play a style of football, right? Pep style football, passing style football, quick movement, stuff like that. The players we've got there are not capable of that.
Yeah.
So someone like them, they're looking at either a hell of a lot of frustration or a total 16-man squad or something like that. And they're not going to get that straight away, which just means we're going to go through a long process. Everyone's going to get peeved off. And in 12 months' time, tic-tac.
JP, I'll tell you exactly what's happening at Tottenham right now, okay? They're looking at all the players they've got on the books, the players that are coming back, and they're thinking, what manager makes it work with
them.
these players? And the reality is no one.
No one.
Because the midfield needs to be rebuilt. Benton calls out till 2024. Basuma hasn't hit the ground running. If Kane walks, we're really fucked. The defense needs rebuilding. The reality is they'll bring in a manager who thinks they can do well with this lot, with maybe one or two signings. Just got a super chat. Let me quickly do it in case I miss it. Wolves F1, big up. Thank you so much. Beers. Yeah, we would definitely buy a drink on you, my man.
Wolves one, man. Big up to you.
And this is the reality. This is the reality. 15 players need to leave this club in the summer if we're going to get serious. But Spurs aren't going to do that. They're not going to do that, especially with no director of football in place. The clock is ticking. There's no manager in place. So I just feel that they're going to just have to bring in a manager that maybe tries to get them top 4 next season with this lot. And I think that's how it's going to work. So whichever manager says, yeah, I can work with this lot. But how any manager can say yes without working with them is beyond me.
And you would say that's just easy mistake that Conte and Mourinho made, right? Because on paper, those players look, oh, well, do you know what? Quite a decent squad there.
They got 15 and 20 million pounds a year, so they're prepared to take the hit as well, maybe. I don't know. What do you make of this question, guys? I would like to see a 4-1-4-1 with Bentancur, Basuma, Maddison, Son, Kane, Porro up front. What do you think? Well, we need to sign Maddison first. No mention of defenders there. That's quite worrying. Or a goalie. Iggy made a good point earlier. We need a new goalie.
Yeah.
We need a new goalie, man.
Big
Mate, a quality goalkeeper will bring 15 points into your season, 15 points.
Mate.
A goalkeeper is massive, man. You don't understand the importance of having a really good goalie. A goalkeeper that's of modern times. And Luis, like, if you look at all the other top keepers in and around the top 6, Luis right now is
Would you say that that's our number one priority?
For me, it's often overlooked. Just how important.
Right now, though,
you will not see it until you see the goalkeeper in place. No, of course there are other areas right now.
No. But
we've got about 5-6 positions that are about number one priorities.
But what I was going to say was, the noises that Hugo's not going to play again like this season. It probably whether he plays again for Spurs or not is debatable, which then just only leaves us with Forrester.
Yeah.
So potentially we don't have a number one goalkeeper then.
No.
I think we missed out when we had the chance to get, a Manigan or Nana, both Milan's keepers. We missed our chance. We weren't progressing.
Mike Mignon, amazing.
Yeah, we missed our chance. Over the week I was watching the Inter game and the Milan game. And I was thinking, like, man, we were linked to these guys, at a good price too, and we never took the initiative to go to get those guys. I know there was a rumor maybe they would look at the Napoli goalie Murad, but
not great.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say, because they're about to replace him with the backup goalie, who played really well against yesterday.
Do you know who this is?
I saw you guys were talking about him earlier, but I didn't quite get
Michael Cooper. He's the goalkeeper for Plymouth. They've just won Division 1. They're now going to be in the Championship next year. And he won Player of the Season in the league. He's their goalie.
All right. But he's 2 seasons below, man. 2 leagues
leagues.
below. Sorry.
Well, he's not. He's Championship now. And they won the division.
Wow.
If Everton get relegated, I could see us going in for that was his name, Jordan
Pickford.
Pickford.
I don't like Pickford.
Look at the players that we're trying to go and get. Madison's going to get relegated. JWP is going to be relegated. Now we're talking about Pickford, another player that's going to potentially get relegated.
It's our level, Ziggy. That's our level.
Do you know what's funny? Do you know what's funny about this? Earlier on, we were saying how when you get a player from a lower team like Richarlison move up, they can't handle it. We're saying, yeah, get Maddison, get JWP, get Michael Cooper.
Instead of getting players from teams above, that's the
because we know we can't get them. We can't get them.
I think the reality's hit with me, Iggy. It's not our league right now. That level is not our.
Listen,
I don't want to say it. I hate to say it. I want to go out and spend the best players and buy the best players and want the best
We'll waste our money, man. We'll waste our money
until we get rid of Levy, until he goes, and we get a fresh, whole new look, and the focus is on the team actually winning something. Those levels of players ain't coming, man.
I know there are exceptions like players like Maddison or even Barnes. I can see there. You know, they're quality players, man. They're better than what they've shown. Gibbs White, I saw bits of it earlier on, man. He had a blinder tonight. That ball that he gave to assist.
We could have bought him. We could have bought him.
Quality, man.
We could have bought him for cheap. We didn't do it. There's another one we could have got.
But there's how many players we could have got and we didn't.
Gibbs White.
Yeah, he's quality player.
Another one getting relegated. Last question, guys, from Della Spurs. Big up Della Spurs. If you don't know who Della Spurs is, he sometimes goes on Will's shows late at night. Top guy, man. Really good guy from America. Do you think players will start calling out the club for their situation this summer if they want to move away? And who do you think will be the most vocal? I think
Harry.
Harry's the obvious one, isn't he?
I don't think he'll be very vocal about it, though, to be honest.
Yeah.
The thing is, you know, when people say vocal, like I often have this conversation when I go on coaching courses. Communication isn't always done by coming out and doing an interview and saying, I want out, I've had enough. You can be vocal by your actions. For example,
non-verbal.
If he publicly puts in a transfer request, that's very vocal. Well, it's not vocal as in the word vocal, but that's loud. That's loud noise.
Criticize the manager, criticize the club, have a go at the training methods, things like that. You know, there's lots of different ways of saying you want out. You know.
Well, Højbjerg with that earlier on, I would say that's not so much out, but a little door slightly open to get out.
I think Emerson's agent said it the other day, didn't he? He's after getting to Real Madrid.
Yeah, Kulusevski maybe.
Well, the thing is, Kulu, we still haven't signed him yet.
So
because
he may opt to go.
Technically, he's still a loan, right?
Yep, I agree.
Whether it was, I mean, I don't know. I'll have to have a look to see what the kind of like what that loan agreement was.
I agree with that comment where Romero could be one to vocal his voice, given that he's had a taste of success winning the World Cup. So maybe.
Right, last question, and then this is it. Bob Spurs TV with a bit of fun. Pick one ex-Arsenal player and one ex-Spurs player for your perfect partnership. Right, I'm going to go first, please. Let me go first.
Go on then.
Because I don't want you not to steal it.
Go on.
You're not going to go batshit crazy, though. Ledley King and Sol Campbell. Sick. That's a cold partnership. That's a cold partnership. Yeah. We just lost about 200 viewers.
How about Patrick Vieira and Moussa Dembele?
Fire. Yeah. That's actually, do you know what? That's better than my one.
Yeah.
That's better than my one.
No one would
Bergkamp.
my midfield if there was Patrick Vieira and Musa Dembele.
No one's touching the ball. No one's touching the ball.
Yeah.
I'd maybe go either. So I was going to say Bergkamp and Keane, but Bergkamp and Defoe, because Defoe had a meaner shot. And kind of like Bergkamp's brain, man, unbelievable.
In the
Bergkamp,
stream,
Defoe.
Dave.
Okay.
Stelios and Ligana. X. I know what you're doing there, though. Bergkamp and Klinsmann. Bergkamp and Greaves. Kane and Bergkamp. Everyone's picking Bergkamp.
Yeah.
How dare you mention that
It was-
arsehole's name here? Harry Kane and Henry. What about you, Iggy? Kane and Henry, Klinsmann and Bergkamp.
Yeah, a lot of really good combinations there, man.
Okay.
Really,
What about with the midfield?
Alfie
The game is
Darrington.
about glory.
Good player, that Alfie
Goals,
Darrington.
man.
In the under-18s. Good player.
Do you know what?
Man, this funny.
I don't know if these two complement each other.
Will and
well,
Sava.
maybe
What
with
are you like?
with a holding midfielder in there, I would have probably put a holding mid to play with.
I'm sorry. Kevin Wimmer and Holden.
I probably would go with
That's a good shout. Ericsson and Corzola.
Gascoigne and David Rocastle.
Ooh, panache and fight.
Gascoigne,
Rocastle.
Rocastle.
Why them
I
two?
thought
Iggy?
I really loved Rocastle as a player.
Rocky, innit? R.I.P. Rocky,
I-
by the way.
I thought he was
Yeah,
a great
fair
player,
fair
man.
play to him. But
Slip
I
and
remember him
send.
punching. Was it David Howes? Like he punched him in.
Yeah,
the
but that
jaw.
was so out of character for someone like him. But he was class, man. Rocastle was class. For those of you that might be, well, if you're as old as me, you
I remember him
him.
playing. I remember him playing.
Rocastle was quality, and I would love to have seen him with alongside Gascoigne. That would have been a good one. There you go. I wanted to go with something a bit like listen, Bergkamp, or you know, Sheringham and Ian Wright would have been another one I would have liked to have seen maybe. But yeah, I'm
yeah,
gonna go
that's
with
a good
Rocky and Gaza. Jensen
that-
and Dazelle, look at that.
Jensen and Dazelle, my God. Liam Braden Hoddle, Tuchel and Conte. Stel, why do you hate
Actually,
Maurizio Tarico? I don't hate him. He's just crap.
Do you know what?
Crap.
Liam Brady and Hoddle is a good shout. You know.
Yeah.
Vieira,
and Modric. That's
Yeah,
pretty
but
tidy.
Musa is Vieira and Musa.
I tell you what.
He's
Better
signing
tell you
another year, isn't he, Luca? At Real Madrid.
I tell you who else would have been good. Emmanuel Petit and Victor Wanyama. Try getting past that.
Oh,
Jeez.
yeah.
Levy and Dini. All right, listen, guys. Thank you as always for watching. Big yourselves up, everyone. We are back tomorrow. Iggy's got his Good Morning Tottenham away shows. The fan show is tomorrow. I've moved it from Wednesday because I can't make Wednesday. So if you want to jump on the fan show, 9 o'clock, we're going live for about an hour and a half. The link is in the description for that channel. For that show. We're back on Friday as well for the Friday preview show for the weekend. We've got a live watch along as well for Tottenham away to Aston Villa. Mari, are you doing anything this week?
Mari moment, and then I'm gonna talk to you about what I'm gonna do this week.
We will let you know what Mari's up to.
It's coming up. It's coming up.
Another Mari moment
just-
is coming. Couple moments. will
Just want
come
to say really quickly, big up to Ishak because I met him for the first time at the protest.
That's a good guy,
weekend.
Shaq. Yeah.
Top man, and Stuart 747 is always in
Yeah.
our comments. He was like a really good lad. So big up to all he is.
It's always good when you put a face on the name, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Big up for the super chats, Wolves F1 with 2 there, man. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your support for the channel. Big up to everyone in the comments tonight who participated. We try and put as many of your comments up as we can. Thanks for all your questions as well. Really enjoyed that bit. Other than that, it's pretty, it's calm at Tottenham. A little bit boring, but It's not bad
It
being
has to
boring
be.
for a little bit.
Purple and gold until we're sold.
Purple and gold until we're sold. All right, guys, listen, thanks for watching as always. Big yourselves up. We will see you later on in the week and have a good rest of the week. Leave you out. We're out of here.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, Spurs.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.